Hello and welcome inside Michigan Stadium here in a chilly Ann Arbor, Michigan for WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan football. I'm Jeremy Parks alongside Daniel Thompson, Austin Falco, and Austin Fisher in the booth with us as well this afternoon. Michigan looking to bounce back after a drubbing in State College last week against the Penn State Nittany Lions under the lights at Beaver Stadium. Wolverines will take on the Scarlet Knights. This a battle for fourth in the Big Ten. Daniel, your thoughts on today's game so far as we get ready for the coin toss?
Well, really the best opponent Michigan can hope for a turnaround game after that brutal loss in State College last week where WCBN was on set last week. Nonetheless, Michigan will have to try to turn this around, and I think this is a good opponent to do so with. They can really focus on getting the offense to actually see what they can do. They showed flashes in State College a couple times last week, but to really get their first strong performance of the season, this is the opponent to do it with.
And we will see what Chris Ash and the Rutgers Scarlet Knights have in store today. Again, they are led by Michigan product Giovanni Rescigno at quarterback and all-star Janarian Grant at wide receiver as well. Coin toss down on the field. Michigan will receive. Rutgers won the toss. They chose to defer. Light winds blowing here in Ann Arbor. It's chilly. Game time temperature right around 49 degrees. Going to need to get the blood flowing today. Will the maize and blue. Daniel, when you look at the Michigan offense, it was said this week by Michigan offensive coordinator Tim Drebno that John O'Korn is one snap away from losing his position to Brandon Peters. Quite the statement from an offensive coordinator about his quarterback. What do you expect out of John O'Korn with the pressure on him this afternoon?
I think O'Korn will recover. He's shown a pretty good ability to block out any of the noise and just play the way he needs to play. He came in for that Florida game, was able to lead the team down the field for a field goal. He's done what he needs to when the pressure is on him, and I expect him to bounce back. And I don't anticipate seeing Peters until about the fourth quarter when, according to the Michigan game plan, the game will be out of hand and backups will enter the game.
Well, the sun is shining bright here in the Michigan sky on a chilly late October Saturday afternoon. The Rutgers Scarlet Knights coming out in all white pants and jerseys with the scarlet numbers and scarlet helmets. Michigan, as always, in the classic maize pants, blue jerseys, maize numbers, and the winged helmet.
And remember, Michigan received the ball to start off the last game here in Ann Arbor. They took that ball down the field, were stopped at about the 10-yard line, though, and had to settle for a field goal. They ended up only scoring 7 more points for the rest of the game. I'm sure Michigan will want a much better look here and want to start finishing off drives early because that has made them hurt all season long.
And now getting ready to set the ball on the tee, the kicker for Rutgers, Andrew Hart, a fifth-year senior, as he preps his special teams unit. Back to return for the Wolverines, Brad Hawkins, the short man, Ambry Thomas, the deep man.
Worth noting that any player who's on this team in 2014 has beaten Michigan before.
Rutgers' big signature Big Ten win as Hart puts a boot through it, and we are underway. Back to return it well at the 10-yard line as Thomas, he breaks left, cuts up the sideline and gets out close to the 25. Right around the 24 is where Michigan will start their first offensive drive of the day. And coming out to lead the offense, at least for now, John O'Korn, the Houston transfer, the backup, behind Wilton Spates, still out with injury, and waiting in the wings behind him, Brandon Peters.
And it appears Karad Higdon is the first running back to take the field.
Higdon has seen the lion's share of snaps. He's going to line up on the left of the line in a receiving slot. Michigan showing an odd formation to start. Now they come back to an I set with O'Korn under center. He sends Zach Gentry in motion. First play is a pitch to Higdon. He breaks right, has some blockers, cuts across the 30, up towards the first down marker for a gain of 8 out to the 34-yard line.
Great run by Higdon. He used patience, waited for the hole to develop, and exploited it. Got right downfield, wasted no time, and set up his offense with a second and one.
As you said, second and one. This Rutgers defensive line really anchored down by Kamoko Toure. Although inconsistency has abounded, Michigan's offensive line going to look to bounce back and give some better protection in today's game. I formation again. Nate Shanley, the lone receiver, out to the left. The handoff to Higdon. He pushes up the middle. He is met right at the line by a host of Rutgers defenders. might have gotten to the first down marker. It looks like they may give him the yard he needed. A helmet came off after the play, and now Higdon, up in the face of a Rutgers player, shoves him backwards.
Wise by both sides to try to start anything, get themselves ejected.
It was the linebacker Deontay Roberts who had apparently displeased Higdon as his helmet was removed after the play, and some shoving.
Both players, though, do keep their cool and avoid any extracurricular activity.
We will keep an eye out. No flags on the play. It is a first down for Michigan at the 36. Again, showing audibles in the offset eye. Now Khalid Hill is the fullback. McDoom comes over from the right-hand side, gets the jet sweep. He's around the corner, up past the 40-yard line to the 45 on a gain of 9. Eddie McDoom, the one-trick pony on the jet sweep. And Michigan again on first down with a healthy gain.
Maybe a one-trick pony, but it's a pretty good trick. The crowd instantly loves it and showers him with a roar of McDoom the second they see him sprinting with the ball.
Worth noting, this stadium is not full. In particular, the student section well shy of max capacity here today. It is cold. Michigan is coming off of a big loss last weekend. We'll see if the numbers increase throughout the game today, but it's 2nd and 1 on the 45. Michigan lining up in the eye again. O'Korn hands off to Higdon. Pushes forward across midfield. It's a first down and a gain of 5. And again, Michigan continuing to plunge forward early. It was actually Ty Isaac on the carry there.
And Michigan has rushed every single play so far, and Rutgers has not given them any reason not to. It's 5 yards at worst besides a 2nd and 1 situation. They're moving the ball exactly the way they need to, and I think Michigan will be content to continue handing the ball off.
And if you can keep the ball out of John O'Korn's throwing arm, and all indications will be that's the case, Tim Drebno has to be pretty happy if the run game can continue. Higdon is back in the game. He's to the right of O'Korn, who's in the gun. 3 receivers out to the right. They bubble screen it out to McDoom. McDoom is wrapped up in the backfield. No, he's not. Breaks the tackle. Has a lot of room over on the left-hand side. Breaking over in pursuit. Finally going to be wrapped up behind midfield for a loss of 3. Much ado about nothing. Rutgers had that play sniffed out from the beginning on the right flat. McDoom escaped a tackle, got all the way over to the left flat, where he was eventually brought down by Deontay Roberts.
McDoom is going to get an earful from his coaches. He ran about 20 yards to lose 1 on that play. Should have taken it for what it was and the small loss. Michigan now in a third and 13, I believe this will be. No, first
second and 13, and a flag is down on the field now. We will get the call.
Illegal substitution, 12 men in formation, offense, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
And that flag came down immediately. It was Zach Gentry, who should not have been on the field, as he looks back in confusion to the sideline. And now the Wolverines, after a big loss on first down and a penalty, are back at 3rd and 18 on their own 43.
In the blink of an eye, it went from Michigan just being able to run at will and not facing any resistance. Now they're backed up.
We will see what they have drawn up. It is 2nd and 18, actually. The down set back to 2. Grant Perry is in motion out to the right. The handoff to Kareem Walker. Walker pushes forward for maybe 2 yards to the 45. That's a name that Michigan has not seen very often so far this season. Walker has had his struggles since being a highly valued recruit, but gets his first carry of the afternoon and picks up 2, makes it 3rd and 16.
And notably gets in the game before Chris Evans can.
An interesting note, Michigan has worked in a lot of different running backs: Karan Higdon, Chris Evans, Ty Isaac, Kareem Walker. It is Higdon who's back in the game now. Michigan on an obvious passing down. They've got McDoom out alone to the left, and now Grant Perry comes into the left slot. O'Korn drops back. It's a screen to McDoom. He's got some blockers on the left, but it will not be enough for a first down. He crosses midfield down to the Rutgers 48-yard line. They'll get back to about 4th and 10, and that will force Michigan to punt.
And you have to wonder if the Michigan coaching staff has any confidence in O'Korn right now. He has not thrown a single ball beyond the line of scrimmage at all yet on that first drive. All rushes and then 2 very short checkdowns to Eddie McDoom.
And now the punt return for Rutgers. Janarian Grant, the dangerous threat. Brad Robbins back to punt for the Wolverines. Gets a boot up and through it, trying to pin Rutgers deep. It's a shorter punt. Waving for fair catch near the 20 is Grant. He hauls it in at the 19. And that is where Rutgers and Giovanni Ricchigno will have their first opportunity of the afternoon.
A bit of a disappointing punt by Robbins. Grant had to end up running 10 yards forward just to catch that punt, although it could also be part of the strategy to avoid Grant. He is one of the most dangerous and electrifying players on this Rutgers team, and I anticipate really no balls to be kicked within his vicinity whatsoever this entire day.
And now Michigan's defense under Don Brown looking for an opportunity to redeem themselves after a poor showing, to say the least, in State College last weekend. We'll see how the formations change as well, Daniel. A lot of man-to-man coverage last week, and the Wolverines got burned for it. How do you expect them to come out this afternoon?
I anticipate a little bit more of the same. They're really, the personnel here for Rutgers isn't nearly as talented as Penn State. I think that was really what gave Michigan their troubles last week. I anticipate more of the same look, maybe a little bit less Brian Monet, who came out originally to try to stuff the middle and limit Saquon Barkley. That was not working. I think we'll see a lot of what we saw in the second quarter out of the Wolverines. That was really the only time the defense was clicking against Penn State in that second quarter.
Again, you're listening to coverage of Michigan football on Student Radio 88.3 WCBN FM Ann Arbor, brought to you in part by Underground Printing. Dig up the deals at Underground. Proud supporters of WCBN Student Sports Radio. Also, shout-outs to our friends from WSRU at Rutgers next to us up here in the booth today. Good group of guys calling the game out for the folks in Piscataway.
They've come a long way for this one.
And they were talking with us before the game. Another thing that came up, again, last year's game in which Michigan went into Piscataway at High Point Solutions Stadium, won 78-0. That was a game that I was there for. That was the least fun, Daniel, I think I've ever had calling a victory. The game was over by the second quarter. The entire second half, there was nothing to say, so.
Oh, for sure. That'd be a challenging one to call. I don't know what you could say that hadn't already been said. It must have sounded like a broken record, really.
Well, the interesting thing was that was when Roots Chris Steakhouse here in Ann Arbor had offered the deal of whatever the point margin of victory for Michigan, you get that percentage off at Roots Chris the Monday through Thursday of the following week. When it was 78 points, they actually capped the deal at 50 and said, sorry, we're not going to give everybody $60 steaks at 78% off. So.
And they did make that rule beforehand. It wasn't they were watching the game and said, oh no, we have to call this off.
We got to call this off at 50.
No, they went into that knowing what was likely going to happen and capped it off at 50 regardless. So those last 28 points for Michigan really didn't accomplish much of anything.
Rutgers looking to put some points up on the board again. It has been over a year since they last scored on Michigan.
However, they've won 2 straight in the Big Ten. That's something Michigan cannot say.
Indeed. As we said, who would have thought this is a battle for 4th place in the Big Ten right now? As Rashino is set to get underway, he is in the gun, drops back, looking right. He's wrapped up and brought down by Big Mo Hurst.
Mo Hurst was in the backfield in the blink of an eye. I don't think Rashino knew what was happening before he was just sprinting backwards trying to avoid Hurst and was swallowed up.
Shot through a line like a ball. Trying to block him with very little luck was Kamal Seymour on the right-hand side.
And that is one massive cannonball to see dashing towards you.
That is a lot of man coming downwind. Now it's 2nd and 18 after the sack on first down. Rashino sends his tight end in motion. It's Jerome Washington. The handoff goes to Gus Edwards, who plunges towards the line of scrimmage. Maybe got a yard on that one.
And Edwards, I believe, averages more than 7 yards a carry.
He does, and behind him is Robert Martin as well, the backup running back. But now, quickly, it is 3rd and 18 for Rutgers.
Yeah, great for the Michigan defense to be able to limit such an electrifying ball carrier, Gus Edwards, averaging 0 yards per carry today. That's 7 less than his total. We'll see if he can improve throughout the day.
3rd and 16. Ball on the Rutgers 13-yard line. Trips receivers out to the right. Rashino out of the gun. Gives the handoff to Gus Edwards, who tries to find his way on the right-hand side and is wrapped up in the backfield again. Another tackle for loss by the Wolverines. And a quick 3-and-out will force Rutgers to punt. It was Devin Bush.
And a much better job containing the Rutgers offense so far today compared to what we saw in State College last week. There was really no way to stop Saquon Barkley. This time, 3 Wolverines in the backfield gave Edwards nowhere to go.
A net of -7 yards on the first offensive drive of the day for the Scarlet Knights. Michigan's defense trying to get its groove back. Now back to punt is Ryan Anderson. Back to return for the Wolverines, Donovan Peoples-Jones. A flag is down, though, before he can put a leg through it. We'll get the call here for you.
False start. Offense, number 59. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
And the offside penalty will push Rutgers back another 5 yards, and now that's going to leave Ryan Anderson standing on the back line of his own end zone almost.
And Donovan Peoples-Jones marches up the field as a result. This is a great punt return matchup between Grant and Donovan Peoples-Jones. If you're a fan of punt returns, this is the game for you.
Donovan Peoples-Jones has shown some promise, has not really had a lot of room to work, though, in the return game so far this season. He stands right on the 50-yard line. And now the snap. It's low. Anderson handles it. A line drive punt. Bounces shy of the 50-yard line, gets a good Rutgers bounce and out of bounds near the Michigan 40. No opportunity for a return there from Peoples-Jones as the hot shot squirts. In the end, a nice punt in terms of net yardage for Anderson. Goes from the back of his own end zone. Michigan will have the ball spotted directly at the 40-yard line to start their second offensive drive of the afternoon. You're listening to Michigan football coverage on WCBN Sports, brought to you in part by Underground Printing.
And both punters, with a little bit disappointing on their first punt for hang time, nonetheless, they effectively neutralized the dangerous punt returners. I think both teams might be going into this game knowing that their opponent's best way to score points is through their return game. Donovan Peoples-Jones with 1 touchdown return on the season, and I believe that was the first touchdown for Michigan at all in that Air Force game.
And I just want to go back really quickly as well to the last drive. Rutgers' offensive line, kind of a microcosm of Michigan in terms of having a lot of talent on the left-hand side. Also, the left tackle's last name being Cole, Tariq Cole, as opposed to Mason Cole for Michigan. A lot of veteran presence on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, though, a lot of inexperience with Marcus Applefield and Kamal Seymour. And I think that showed on the first drive. Each play ran to the right-hand side, and each time Michigan's defense was able to get through into the backfield.
Absolutely. Tariq Cole, really one of the highlights of this Rutgers team. A lot of people are saying he might be an NFL draft prospect even. So someone to look out for, really one of the stars of this Rutgers team.
And here, during the commercial break, we have a couple members of the 1948 Michigan Football National Championship team. Leo Kacheski and Carl Krager stand out in the end zone, looking strong as ever. Again, 1948 National Championship team. Everybody's in the big house here on homecoming, except the students.
Indeed, there could very well be more alumni than present students here today. The student section has filled up somewhat since we started calling, but
missing about the top 20 rows.
Yeah,
with scattered students out of, what, say 97 rows, I believe it goes up to in the student section.
Yeah, there are entire benches where you can see not one person sitting on them.
The rest of the big house, though, fairly full. The Rutgers faithful have traveled pretty well up in the far right corner from where we sit here in the press box, and now Michigan out of the huddle. The ball is set at the 40. They're going into this with John O'Korn again after we said he only threw 2 passes on the last drive, both screens, not past the line of scrimmage. So we'll see how Michigan goes with the play calling here. A penalty really killed them on the last drive, killed some momentum. We'll see how they fare. Karan Higdon is going to start in the backfield. Michigan in the eye. Zach Gentry, the tight end. The pitch on the first play, similar to how the last drive started. And again, Higdon has some room on the right side. Breaks it for about 6 yards out of bounds near the 47-yard line.
This Michigan offensive line has had issues so far this year. However, very effective so far today. They've given Karan Higdon a lot of free space to run with. He's been getting about 5 yards down the field before his first contact. Really a pretty ideal performance so far. Officially
a gain of 7. It's 2nd and 3. Donovan Peoples-Jones, the lone receiver, out to the left. Kekoa Crawford, the lone receiver, out to the right. O'Korn under center. The handoff again to Higdon as he plunges forward. And he'll get the first down on a gain of 3.5. Past midfield. And a fresh set of downs for the Maize and Blue. Karan Higdon continuing to plunge forward.
The second Michigan abandoned the run on the last drive, everything went south. I see no reason for Michigan to stop running this drive. Maybe just 10 handoffs to the end zone is what they're looking for right now, with really the run game being far more effective so far today.
It'll be an offset I formation here on 1st and 10, again inside Rutgers territory at the 49. Peoples-Jones moving from outside into the slot. Fakes the handoff on play action. O'Korn dropping back to pass, looking for Zach Gentry. He's intercepted on the play for Rutgers. I believe it was the safety Jawan Harris Indeed it was. He was trying to target Zach Gentry, poorly underthrew him on the crossing route. And that may be it for John O'Korn now.
And Juwan Harris, he has experience catching balls. He actually was a receiver the previous 2 seasons and now made the conversion to safety. Looking pretty good there. He has more receptions down the field than any Michigan wide receiver. And you really do have to wonder, is this Brandon Peters time now?
Well, we wondered why Michigan had yet to really go to the air truly with John O'Korn, and on his first big pass play of the day, a poor underthrow, too much air on it, and it's picked off by Rutgers. They will have good field position to start at the 31-yard line. Their own 31-yard line, I should say. And we are right back to it as Rashino taking the snap out of the gun, and it was actually a direct snap, and now moving up the right-hand side off the direct snap towards the first down marker and the 40. I believe that was Robert Martin actually coming out of the backfield.
And Rutgers sets himself up well now. It looked like they had no way of stopping the Michigan offense, so that Michigan turns the ball over. Something they limited in State College last week.
It was actually Janarian Grant on the direct snap, 1, not 7. And a pickup of 8 on first down, 2nd and 2. Grant in the slot. Receivers out wide, left and right. Jerome Washington, the tight end. Rashino takes the snap, gives the handoff, busting forward for a first down and then some after a poor broken tackle out towards midfield is Gus Edwards.
Yeah, Gus Edwards is able to shake off Mike McRae there. McRae really wrapped around him. He had every opportunity to make the tackle, and Gus Edwards just gets more physical and pushes him over.
It was Robert Martin again, actually. They keep showing Edwards and then giving to Martin. Martin has, for the most part, been the backup running back so far this season for Rutgers, maybe trying to show something a little bit different here early on to throw off the Wolverines. And again, we're going to have Janarian Grant taking the direct snap out of the gun. The handoff. Instead, fakes it, goes up the middle, picks up about 3 across midfield.
And we saw a bit of a wildcat formation there. Quarterback ended up playing out right by the 50-yard line along the sideline as a wide receiver. Not much of a threat in the passing game, is he? But an interesting formation, trying to change things up here against the Wolverines.
Rutgers showing some exotic stuff, trying to pick up some yardage, and it's working so far. 2nd and 6 inside Michigan territory on the Michigan 48-yard line. Rashino is back in the gun now. 3 receivers to the right. He drops back. He's looking left almost immediately. He's flushed out by Michigan and wrapped up in the backfield. Sacked for Rashawn Gary.
Rashino was able to get around Chase Winovich, but he had no hope of getting behind Gary. Gary was sprinting at him from behind. He had no way to avoid it.
Going to be a loss of 3 on the play. The big sack from number 3, the former number 1 overall recruit in the nation. Rashawn Gary bursting through with a nice tackle. And now it's 3rd and 9 for Rutgers. Rashino. Michigan showing 6 in the box, drops back. Back into coverage, and obvious passing down here for the Scarlet Knights. An audible called, and now the snap. Pushing forward, has time as Rashino tries to go over the middle. Incomplete, was looking for Janarian Grant. No flag on the play. Good coverage there from Josh Metellus.
I like the play calling from Rutgers on that drive. They really switched things up. They saw that their typical game plan was not working at all on the first drive. They had an opportunity with the interception, got a shorter field, and tried to take advantage of it. And it bears a little bit of fruit here. They now can flip the field position. Donovan Peoples-Jones is back at his own 11 or 12-yard line. So something does result in that interesting play calling there by Rutgers.
Michigan's defense holding steady after the interception off the arm of John O'Korn. Again, back to punt is Ryan Anderson. Back to return, standing on the 10, Donovan Peoples-Jones. The punt looks like it's going to get out towards the end zone. Indeed it does, as it bounces on the M of Michigan. And that will come back. Michigan will have another opportunity here. And although Tim Drebno said this week that John O'Korn was 1 throw away from being pulled, it looks like he is talking with Jim Harbaugh on the sideline like he's ready to take the offense back out again here.
Yeah, this may be the most anticipated matchup of the entire game. Not on the field, but rather will we see Peters or O'Korn come out.
Well, now Brandon Peters is strolling off the sideline into the huddle, although he's on the fringes of the huddle, whereas O'Korn is in the center. Jim Harbaugh has the entire offense in with him.
Yeah, there's about 30 Wolverines out there huddled up around the 30-yard line. maybe a little bit of showmanship here, just distracting us to see who will come out. I think that's what a lot of the fans are interested in here, to see who will be the starting quarterback, or not the starter, but the quarterback for the remainder of the game.
We are in the midst of a TV timeout here. 3:59 remaining in the first quarter. It's a scoreless game. Turnovers in favor of Rutgers, 1-0. Michigan, however, with the overall yardage advantage so far in the game. They've gotten it done on the ground for the most part, and they lead 43-11 on total yards. Michigan, though, however, already has 2 sacks on the game from Mo Hurst and Rashawn Gary.
Yeah, a bad day for quarterbacks so far. Together, the two quarterbacks are 2 for 4 yards and an interception. Rutgers not even electing to throw until that 3rd and 9 on their previous drive, the last play of scrimmage so far.
Not exactly what you would call a lightning show for the arms for either side.
Yeah, 50 of the 54 yards gained so far today have all been rushing. I look to see more of that. We're not that long into the game. It's only 12:24 here in Ann Arbor, but there's only 3:59 to go in the first quarter.
We're going to continue to chug along. I think that's going to be the pace of play for the rest of this one. Both teams sticking to the ground. And again, unless Brandon Peters comes into the game, I don't really see Michigan going to the air all that much, which means the clock will tick. And Rutgers also showing on their first couple of drives that they're going to show some wildcat. They're going to try and work Janarian Grant in on the ground as well. And that's why we sit with just 4 minutes, 3 minutes and 59 seconds technically remaining here in the first quarter so quickly.
With exception to Juwan Harris with the interception, really it's been Michigan's passing game that's been stopping their offense. The running game has just been unstoppable so far, and then every time they call a pass, it just kills the drive.
2 screen plays that resulted in gains of no yards, and then the interception on the play action pass on the last one. And again, Michigan now out of the huddle. It's John O'Korn who will take over. We'll see how he fares here.
So O'Korn's leash perhaps not as short as Drevno originally indicated, but I think every time something goes wrong in the passing game, the question will be brought up, will Peters come in?
Going to start with a single back set here. Ty Isaac, the running back. Khalid Hill in motion. Now comes to block on the right-hand side, cuts back up the middle. Handoff is to Isaac. He bursts across the 25 and out down at the 28-yard line. Again, a pickup of 8 on first down. Good inside blocking. Michigan so far winning the battle in the trenches with their offensive line. In this one, they actually call it a gain of 9. It's 2nd and 1.
And whether it be Isaac, McDoom, or Higdon, the running game has worked flawlessly so far for the Wolverines. It's not unthinkable they might go 80 yards down the field here without attempting a pass.
O'Korn has no back with him, and now resetting. Ty Isaac again comes to the backfield. Khalid Hill, again the fullback in the eye. Another handoff. Plunging forward for the first down, a pickup of 4, Ty Isaac. Down to the Michigan 32-yard line. And again, continuing to move. Michigan now with 87 yards on the ground so far.
And Chris Evans comes in for his first snap of the game. Interesting note here, and I think we'll see all 4 Michigan running backs get a lot of play time today.
We will see how Isaac fares. He stands offset to the right of O'Korn, who's in the gun. 2 receivers out to the left for Michigan. O'Korn fumbles the snap, picks it back up, and falls backwards near his own 15-yard line. Boy, oh boy. If John O'Korn was trying to make a case for staying in the game at quarterback, it has not worked out well so far.
Yeah, it looked like that was another design short screen pass out to Evans. It looked like it was going to become, but nonetheless, we'll never know because O'Korn just dropped the snap when it came to him. The snap looked fine.
It was fine, right in the breadbasket, as they say. Hit him on the numbers and just unable to get it. You think maybe his hands could be cold, but that is no excuse on the sideline. And now Michigan, after that loss, sitting at 2nd and 23. They hand it off on 2nd down to Chris Evans, who breaks out to the left-hand side. He's got some blockers. He'll pick up a few of that loss back, about a gain of 5 as he gets out close to the 25-yard line.
And every single passing attempt, it's a drive killer. They've been rolling all 3 drives so far. They attempt to pass, and it just sets them backwards. Now 3rd and 18, 17. They'd probably prefer to rush here, but it's just too far to go with the run. we're probably going to have to see O'Corn try to throw the ball downfield now.
I've been keeping a keen eye on Brandon Peters on the sideline. He's still chatting with Dylan McCaffrey, the young freshman quarterback. It's 3rd and 17. O'Corn is under center. He's got 3 receivers out to the right, and they pitch it on 3rd and long to Ty Isaac. Almost blown up in the backfield, but Isaac has some blockers. Bursts forward across the 35, across the 40, close to the first down. They might say he got enough. I think that's a generous spot. It's very close to the first down, a pickup of 16, maybe 17 for Ty Isaac, who almost had it snuffed out for a loss of 4.
Yeah, he breaks 1 tackle in the backfield and gets downfield, has blockers. He rolls over a Rutgers defender at the end of the play to try to get the first down, but they're going to mark him about a half a yard short.
And Michigan's going to go for it here. It was Kai Hester, the safety, who burst through on the blitz into the backfield and missed the tackle. And now we are going to have a review of the play. I don't think that Ty Isaac got to the first down marker. I think it's close. I think 4th and 1 is the right call, but they're going to take a moment to look at it here at the Big House. We'll see when we get the replay up on our screen here in the booth.
Watching it live, I actually thought he got it. To me, it looked like he rolls over the tackler at the very end, thus preventing him from going to the ground and gains a few more yards. Actually, just seeing it on the replay on the big screen here in the Big House right now, I believe his knee does go down before he extends for the first down. So I think this call will stand and they'll keep it spotted where it is.
Either way, it looked like Michigan might have been ready to go for it. It is kind of in that go-for-it territory, sitting on about your own 40-yard line.
Yeah, with the way the defense is played, I really don't think you need to be afraid.
I think you might actually be right on your initial assessment, Daniel, as he falls to the ground. Just trying to see here. The initial wrap-up happens a few yards short, and then I think he rolls over the body. That might be Damon Hayes, the cornerback, underneath there. And then on top of the tackle, the safety, KJ Gray. The ruling on the field does stand after a short review, however. So It will be 4th and 1, and Michigan is sending their heavy set out to go for it.
And O'Corn is the last player to walk onto the field. For a second, I was just checking to see who the quarterback was. Didn't see one at all.
1 minute remaining, now ticking down 55 seconds as the clock runs here in the first quarter. It's 4th and 1 on the Michigan 41-yard line. I formation. Poggi's the fullback. A little bit of movement on the line. Rutgers gets back and avoids the penalty. Nate Shanley, the lone receiver, on the left. The handoff is to Higdon. He plunges forward. He's met perhaps a bit short. He tried to make a lunging effort towards the first down marker. It's going to be a very close spot. Good effort by the Rutgers defensive front to wrap up Higdon. They may move the chains out here. We'll see what the head official has here. And now he's going to call for the chain measurement.
Where they have it spotted right now, it looks like it is a first down. When I watched the play live, I did not think he got it.
The front nose of the ball is just scraping the 42-yard line.
Yeah, the first down marker is exactly on that 42-yard line, and the front nose does appear to be just a hairline ahead of it.
Head referee Rod Snodgrass, as he awaits the measurement from the chains. And that is very close. We're trying to see. He does signal first down, if maybe by a centimeter. And that will keep the Rutgers defense on the field. Running back towards the sideline was this defensive front. Sebastian Joseph, the nose tackle, looked ready to dart off the field back to the sideline. But the officiating crew here giving Michigan perhaps a slightly generous spot on that 4th and 1, but another 4th down conversion for the Wolverines, and the drive continues. Donovan Peoples-Jones split out wide to the left. Grant Perry in the slot. Sean McCune, the tight end. Peters, or O'Corn, I should say, looking to throw over the middle. He has McCune at the first down marker. A bit high, but hauled in for a gain of 9 on first down. And if you are John O'Corn, maybe that puts a little bit of confidence back in your arm, knowing that you can finally get one out for a completion.
Yeah, not what I was anticipating, but for once the passing game finally works out for the Wolverines. I really anticipated them not to pass at all until they got into a 3rd and long situation. On the last 3rd and long, it ended up paying off for them just to run and trust their running backs to get the job done.
And that is the last play of the first quarter. Michigan driving here, getting close to midfield again. They have just broken into Rutgers territory. Again, a scoreless game, 0-0. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan football. I'm Jeremy Parks alongside Daniel Thompson. Brought to you in part by Underground Printing. Joined also in the booth by Austin Fisher, Austin Falco. They will have the second half for you this afternoon. The wind starting to pick up here down on the field. The American flag to the south end zone swirling, pushing back in the face of the Wolverines at the moment, but they will switch field and will now go with the wind to their back to start the second quarter.
And worth noting, Michigan with that fourth down conversion now improves to 8 of 10 on the year for fourth downs. You can debate about that one, whether or not it should have counted, but nonetheless, the officials do give the first down to the Wolverines. They're 80% on the season. There has been few things you can praise the Michigan offense for this season, but their fourth down conversions have been one of them.
First quarter in review, Michigan leading the overall yardage battle 74-11. They lost a lot of yards on that O'Korn miss-snap fumble earlier in the drive, but 74-11 the total. Michigan was 61 of those yards on the ground. Rutgers all 11 coming on the ground. Giovanni Ricchigno only attempted one pass in the first quarter. It was incomplete on a third down attempt.
And that first quarter took barely more than half an hour of real time. We can be seeing a quick game here. And if you're a college football fan, that might be a great sign because we've got a packed,
very packed 3:30 slate. One of the deepest 3:30 slates in recent memory that I can recall in terms of ranked opponents going up against one another. Again, I think in terms of ranking, the highlight of that one will be number 14 North Carolina State and I believe now number 4 Notre Dame.
Yeah, Notre Dame has shot up the rankings, and no one saw this game to be so great going into the season. We all know last year that was the Hurricane game, basically, where Notre Dame and NC State played in the Hurricane. Final score was 10-3 with the one touchdown coming on a special teams error by the Irish. But who can blame them? It's hard to call it an error when there was just so much rain you could not hold on to the football. We'll see a much more polished performance out of those two teams probably going into this one.
Coming out of the TV timeout, the ball is placed at the Rutgers 48-yard line.
And now the Wolverines facing the same side of the field, so they might go nearly 100 yards going up and down the same half of the field.
They are going to face into what is there of the student section as they move towards the north end zone. John O'Korn will start the second quarter in the eye. 2nd and 1 as we stand. Zach Gentry, the tight end, in motion to the right. The handoff to Kareem Walker. He pushes forward across the 40-yard line. Big gain on second down. Brought down at the 36-yard line of Rutgers. Call it a gain of 13 for Kareem Walker. Dreads a flowing behind that helmet.
Great run for Kareem Walker. Now every single Michigan running back has a run of at least 6 yards or more.
1st and 10 on the 36. O'Korn sends Poggi, the tight end, over to grab McCune, the tight end, and bring both over to the left to block. Higdon, the tailback, they do pitch it out to that strong side. Higdon has the corner but will not get very far. Crosses the 35 down to the 34, a gain of 2 on the pitch play.
Yeah, it looks like Rutgers got to the backfield, but Karan Higdon, much like in his touchdown against Penn State in the first half last week, he just sprinted to the sideline, outran the pursuers, and was able to get forward for a few yards. That will set up a 2nd and 8.
2nd and 8, 14:08 remaining in the second quarter. Michigan trying to put their first points of the afternoon on the board. Ty Isaac is now checking into the game at tailback. O'Korn takes the snap, drops back, hands off to Isaac. He's got a lot of room up the middle, across the 30, down to the 25-yard line. Another first down on the ground for the Wolverines as they continue to gash and grab. Midwestern football, Daniel.
Oh, absolutely. They've really established that Big Ten style of play.
Man ball.
Man ball, indeed. It looked like he was parting the Red Sea, more like the Sea of Red Helmets. Nonetheless, Ty Isaac has no one on him for the first 5 yards as he just gallops down the field.
1st and 10 at the Rutgers 25-yard line. 2 receivers out to the right. O'Korn hands off to Isaac again. Isaac pushing forward. Finally met at the line. Tackle made by Rutgers. Deontay Roberts on the stop, crossing the 25-yard line down to the 22, a gain of 3 on first down for Ty Isaac.
And that quickly, Ty Isaac is missing that previous run where he just had no resistance whatsoever, had to fight for those 3 yards.
Grant Perry is going to split out wide to the right. He's got McCune, the tight end, in the slot. Donovan Peoples-Jones, the lone receiver, to the left. O'Korn Again, handing off to Isaac. He breaks outside to the right. Got some blockers across the 10, across the 5, pushing to the end zone. They rule him out at the half-yard line.
Ty Isaac once again not touched for quite a bit of time. I don't think anyone got him to until the 5-yard line. He just kept on making cuts and had blockers downfield, was able to avoid any pressure. It looked like the 4-yard line was the first time he got hit, and I frankly thought he got in.
They may review this. Michigan standing with the ball on the half-yard line. They may just try and snap it and punch it in, and now the referees will stop, and this play will be under review.
Yeah, it's going to be really close.
Early on the field as the runner was short of the goal line. That plays under further review.
I don't know. I thought as he had crossed the goal line, I thought he was there, but the side official was right on top of it, right at the pylon, and made the call at the half.
He was right above Isaac as he saw his knee hit the ground. It's going to be very close. Watching the replay, when I saw it live, I thought he was in for sure. Watching the replay, I do see his knee come down right as he's entering the end zone. This will be interesting.
We'll see how they rule. I think you are correct. The knee coming down, the final stop tackle coming just shy of the goal line.
To me, if I had to make that call live and I was able to slow everything down in my head, I think the nose of the ball is just barely over the goal line, but I don't think that's going to be enough to overturn.
Trevor Morris, the linebacker, and Isaiah Wharton, the cornerback. They do confirm the ruling on the field. Again, a very quick review, so it'll be first and goal from the maybe the one half-yard line.
Yeah, this will be a simple punch-in for the Wolverines. We've seen it quite a few times now when they've seen 2nd and 1 after a good first down run. They do all they need to get the ball in.
It took Michigan 4 tries from this position last week to get in against Penn State. However, they do bring in the Panda, Khalid Hill, at fullback, who last season was pretty much the go-to in these situations. The highest efficiency in all of college football, something like 15 carries and 7 touchdowns. Big formation, they give it to Hill. He pushes forward, and he is across the goal line, into the end zone. Touchdown, Michigan. First points of the afternoon on the fullback punch-in from Khalid Hill.
Not quite the Penn State defense out there today for the Wolverines, and a much simpler punch-in for Khalid Hill. Nonetheless, flawlessly done. He has such a large body, but can really make it move quickly, and that's really hard to stop for less than a yard.
There was a lot of beef up on the line, but Michigan pushing through to get the first points for either side of the afternoon. They are up 6-0, pending the extra point here from Quinn Norden.
I don't believe Michigan threw the ball once so far the entire second quarter.
They did not. 12:06 remains in the half. As All-American holder Garrett Moores puts it down. Norden, the leg through it. It is good. And the Wolverines lead 7-0 here early on in the second quarter, courtesy of a huge run to set up the punch-in touchdown. Ty Isaac set him up. Khalid Hill set him down.
No hiccups this week for Quinn Nordin. He missed, very surprisingly, and to the delight of the Penn State crowd, missed his first extra point attempt last week. Flawless kick right there. He's got the reigning holder of the year helping him out there. And an easy 7-0 lead for the Wolverines after that extra point. We'll see what Rutgers offense has to say now. They've only had the ball twice, even though there's 12:06 to go now in the second quarter. Michigan's offense has done a good job lately keeping the ball out of the Rutgers' hands. They did have the 1 turnover.
Well, I'll say as much as this. If Michigan is going to continue to just put the ball on the ground for the rest of the game, why not put Brandon Peters in, get him some in-game experience, and let him work on his handoffs?
Yeah, I mean, even the snaps are something where there's work left to be desired. O'Korn muffed one of the snaps he's had so far. If Peters is better at handing the ball off, then he's probably the quarterback for this game, because the game plan looks like it's going to be all just running the ball 3 yards, well, more than 3 yards in a cloud of dust so far today. I have no idea how much the Wolverines are averaging on rushing, but they already have 110 yards this early into the game on rushing, and that's truly fantastic this early in the game. They're averaging 5.8 a carry.
Total of 110 on the ground. That's even including the 13-yard loss from O'Korn on the fumbled snap earlier in this one. Ty Isaac leading the way, 7 carries for 67 yards. Nearly got the TD on the last drive, but was stopped just short. Khalid Hill with the punch-in. Karan Higdon also has 6 carries for 25, and Kareem Walker 2 for 15.
And interestingly, Michigan has more than 10 times as many yards, exactly 10 times as many yards, as Rutgers does rushing. 11 Rutgers rushing yards and 0 passing yards for Rutgers, to Michigan's 110 rushing yards. If that trend keeps up, there's no way you can win a football game.
Hey, John O'Corn's batting 750, by the way, too. 3 for 4, the only incomplete pass, the interception.
Although that one pass is not a completion, was far more costly than any completion he did have.
That is fair. Getting ready to get underway here. 12:06 remaining in the half, as it's getting set down on the tee by James Fogue. Back to return for Rutgers, Janarian Grant, as well as Josh Hicks. Moores takes his habitual jump on the 25, turns around and runs, and now the ball has been blown off the tee. Gust of wind throwing off his routine here. As now Fogue is back. Lifts the arm, takes the run up, puts the leg through it, and it is deep but returnable for Rutgers, I think. Back is Janarian Grant. He will stop actually just shy of returning it. Probably a good idea. Michigan had men in pursuit. Knees it down, and Rutgers will start at the 25-yard line.
And an interesting note, you said that Khalid Hill had 7 touchdowns on 15 carries last season. That was his 15th carry of the season just now, and that was only his 2nd touchdown, so not quite the year he had last year.
That was almost every game. There was a 1-yard punch-in from Khalid Hill last season, but...
Yeah, interestingly, his long on the season right now is 4 yards, and his long last year was also 4 yards. He had some receptions that were longer, but that's what he does, and he does it better than basically anyone else in the country.
Rutgers has been off the field for quite a while. They are ready to get underway with their next offensive drive. Giovanni Ricchigno out of the gun, takes the snap, is looking to throw over the middle. He has a little bit of time, out to his receiver, and complete. I believe the catch was made by Bo Melton.
And that's Rutgers' first completion on the day. That gets Ricchigno up to 1 for 2.
Everett Wormley, actually, the next receiver in line after Bo Melton on the X receiver line. It'll be 2nd and 4 after the gain of 6 on first down. 2 receivers out to the left. Ricchigno, hands off, plunging forward towards the first down marker, carrying tacklers with him out to the 35-yard line is Gus Edwards. And he will get the first down as the chains move.
It looked like the Wolverines had stopped Edwards at about the 32-yard line, but he fights through them and ends up getting the 3 more yards he needs to set up a Rutgers first down.
He took Devin Bush on a ride for a couple extra yards there, got down low, and carried his weight forward for a first down, 1st and 10 at the Rutgers 35.
And Ricchigno is lined up at wide receiver again.
Yep, the Wildcat. Janarian Grant, he will take the snap, fake the handoff, move out to the left-hand side, pushing forward. He's got a lot of room, crosses midfield, 40, 30, 20, 10, touchdown, Rutgers. Janarian Grant, as we said, one of the most explosive players on this Rutgers team. Boy, he just took it a country mile to the house to tie this one up, pending the extra point. It's 7-6, 10:52 remaining in the half.
Yeah, I think Jerry Kill, Rutgers' first-year offensive coordinator, you might recognize that name as the former Minnesota head coach. He was watching the game tape. He saw Purdue and Penn State both did a very good job of misdirections and tricking the Michigan defense.
65 yards to pay dirt right through the heart of the Michigan defensive line. And boy, Michigan had a lot of momentum going, and now, pending the extra point here from Andrew Hart, the kick is up. It is good. It's now even, 7 apiece.
And did that play remind you of anything, JP? Does that bring any other plays?
The zone rush from Saquon Barkley on the 2nd play of the game last week in Happy Valley.
Yeah,
right up the gut.
Those plays are nearly identical. The running back takes the ball, direct snap, fakes a handoff, gets the Michigan defense to bite. I bit too. I didn't know what you're talking about, saying it was a fake handoff. I thought Gus Edwards kept the ball.
Well, they had run a very similar play earlier on in the game out of the Wildcat where Janarian Grant kept the snap, but he went over to the left-hand side. Michigan was able to get their blockers over, but this time he went to the left, didn't find a lot, cut back up the middle, and took it all the way, 65 yards, and now it's a tie ball game.
Yeah, nearly with the same length, too, as that Saquon Barkley run. that puts the rushing yardage a lot more even now. I think now that puts Rutgers up to 80 rushing yards, 6 passing. This is a ball game now. It looked like Michigan was going to get pulled away, not quite in the same fashion they did last year, of course, 78-0. Rutgers gets their first points on the Wolverines in 2 years.
Well, one comforting fact for Michigan is that they've still been able to move the ball on the ground almost at will. As you said, it's been penalties and the intermittent passing plays that have gone poorly that have kept Rutgers in this one to date. So we will see here how Michigan responds on offense.
And the 2017 Big Ten champion Michigan women's gymnastics team now takes the field here in the end zone near the student section, giving the Wolverine faithful something to cheer about after that disappointing performance from their defense.
Want to take a moment to thank all of our listeners tuning in, both online and around the country. WCBNsports.org. Couldn't do what we do without you. Feel free to tweet at us throughout the game. We love fan interaction. The handle at WCBN Sports. Any questions or comments that you have being handled by our man Austin Falco here in the first half. So give him a little work to do. Send him in some tweets. Again, at WCBN Sports. Jeremy Parks alongside Daniel Thompson. The energy kind of sapped here after the big Janarian Grant touchdown run. How does the Michigan offense put it right back in Michigan's hands?
Just keep running. I don't think they need to throw the ball.
Pretty much the only answer there was, but I don't think anybody was going to say play action pass.
No. Although, I mean, you know, the way Michigan's ran, that'd probably get Rutgers to bite hard, so I wouldn't hate that.
And now the ball being set on the tee by Andrew Hart. Back to return for the Wolverines as always. Brad Hawkins, the short man, Ambry Thomas, the deep man. Boot is up, and it will be fielded inbounds by Thomas. A very short kick. It bounces at the 15, catches it off one bounce, moving left, and is wrapped up shy of the 25-yard line. A bit of an odd return. It was a very short kickoff going into the wind.
Yeah, we've seen both kickoffs now for Rutgers be pretty short bounce before the 10-yard line. Well, trying to limit Ambry Thomas's return ability. He had a good return that really puts some energy into the last week against Penn State.
Official spot at the Michigan 23 where they will start the drive.
And they went 80 yards on their last drive, I believe, so a somewhat easier of a task this drive.
Offset eye. Nate Shanley in motion. Out to the right. O'Korn again fumbling the snap, picks it up and takes it himself. He slides for nothing.
And the Boobers are raining down on him now.
Oh boy.
The handling snap duty might be what wins Peters the job here. Really, O'Korn is getting in his own way right now. His running game is doing everything it needs to make this an easy win for him.
Wholesale change in the receiving core for Michigan coming into the game. McDoom, Crawford, or should I say Perry, and Peoples-Jones. 2nd and 9. O'Korn did get 1 yard as he slid down after the mishandled snap. He's now looking to throw. He rolls right. He's got time. Tries to squirt it out over to McDoom. Right in the breadbasket, and McDoom dropped it.
Yeah, his team has been giving him help so far, but that's the first time really O'Korn's teammates have let him down.
Eddie McDoom has been targeted as a receiver throughout this season for Michigan, but has shown nothing but cooking oil on his hands as the ball continues to slide out.
And it looks like that one might have been tipped. I think a Rutgers defensive back got a fingertip on it.
And still, it was close enough to catch for
McDoom.
Oh,
yeah, certainly.
3rd and 9 now. Higdon lined up to the left of O'Korn in the gun. There's 3 receivers to the right. O'Korn immediately looks right. Now comes back over left. He's got a little room up the middle. Escapes. Thinks about throwing. Tries to get it out over the middle. Was targeting Peoples-Jones. He wants interference. He will not get it as he tumbled to the ground on the incompletion. And that'll do it for the Wolverines on that one. 4th and 9. We'll see how much merit the appeal for interference had. Not a lot. A tap on the back shoulder, and Peoples-Jones doing a good job of trying to sell it, but no call, the right call, as Michigan forced to punt.
And I think either way, the pass was going to be a hair behind him. If anything, the Rutgers defensive back had a better chance of intercepting that pass than Peoples-Jones did at receiving.
And again, a similar tune to this one. Robbins the punt, Grant the return man. Driven back to his 25-yard line, calls for fair catch at the 27. And now Rutgers will try and expand on their momentum after a big 65-yard touchdown run from Janarian Grant on the last drive that tied this game at 7 apiece. There's 9:50 left in the second quarter. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan football. Jeremy Parks alongside Daniel Thompson. Brought to you in part by Underground Printing. Dig up the deals.
And wow, has the script been flipped. This last drive, Rutgers was coming out wondering how are they going to keep up with a Michigan offense that's firing at all cylinders. Now they have some confidence.
And now, again, the honors continue here on homecoming weekend during the TV timeouts. The 2016-17 Michigan water polo campaign here, as they went all the way to the CWPA playoffs, the farthest they've ever made it. Under head coach Marcelo Leonardi, they will be honored down in the end zone as well here. Another sport at Michigan that's relatively new, but picking up some steam in terms of the national picture.
Yeah, indeed.
Hungarian, Daniel Thompson, resident Hungarian, big water polo country.
Oh, indeed, yeah. Hungary has won the most gold medals of any nation in Olympic history in water polo. We're very proud of our water polo tradition, and I was raised in that water polo tradition. I've watched a lot of water polo in my life on TV all the time in Hungary.
Can you give me your best egg beaters in the water there? Keep you afloat. He's actually going to do it. Oh, no, he's not. I thought he was going to get up out of the chair and show me the egg beaters.
Well, that'd be a little bit difficult with that, seeing there's no water in this booth, but...
We got a couple water bottles laying around. We could just pour them near your feet.
I'd rather we not, but, you know, we got a lot of equipment here. We didn't want to damage our board, but...
Our booth staff was ready to go.
Oh, yeah, they were...
Falco and Fisher had the water bottles ready to pour at your feet there.
But... yeah, we've seen a lot of improvement from this young water polo program for Michigan, and if you want to hear more from them, starting this spring semester, or winter semester, I mean, you'll be able to hear those games on WCBN. We'll try to cover as many as we can.
Every home game should be available on WCBN this season. Water polo doesn't really have a lot of home games.
No, yeah, that's
so they're a lot easier to cover, and also when they do, they lump them together as mini tournaments. So,
yeah, that's a very West Coast sport. In fact, on the women's team, every single player for the U.S. women's national team is from California, with exception to the goalkeeper, who was raised in Miami.
And I think there's some Australians on the team now, too.
Yeah, the keeper is actually, I cannot remember for a fact, but either her parents are both Jamaican immigrants, or she herself was born in Jamaica. So a bit of an international flavor. Of course, it's a sport not huge in America, but the women's national team is a powerhouse in the world.
Back underway here in the big house, as Giovanni Ricchigno set to start another offensive drive for the Scarlet Knights. They start on their own 28-yard line with two receivers to the right and left. The tight end is Jerome Washington. Out of the gun, Ricchigno trying to draw the Wolverines offside. Cannot do so. The pocket collapsing as he gets the throw out over the middle. Incomplete by a good distance. He was targeting Janarian Grant. Falls short and to the right. 2nd and 10.
Grant really had no chance of catching that. It hit the ground about 2 yards before him, but hard to blame Ricchigno for the forced pass there. He felt the heat coming. Some Wolverines pass rushers were coming in at him.
Giovanni Ricchigno, the quarterback, again, the Michigan presence here on this Scarlet Knights offense. Former backup quarterback at De La Salle High School. Now taking his talents to Piscataway, and we're going to see him line up out wide to the left in another Wildcat formation. Grant takes the snap, looking to go back up the middle again. He's wrapped up this time. Rashawn Gary made the initial contact, finished off by Mike McCray and Aubrey Solomon.
I think both offenses have figured out what works for them. For Michigan, it's just feed the ball to the running backs, get the ball moving straight downfield. And for Rutgers, they want to get the ball into Janarian Grant's hands under any way they can.
Chris Ash knows where his talent is. Grant's going to line up in the slot. 3 receivers to the left. No man in the backfield for Ricchigno.
And interestingly, Devin Bush is lining up on the side with 2 receivers rather than 3 to cover Grant.
Ricchigno looks to the sideline, calls an audible at the line, takes the snap. Rushing in is Michigan. He gets the completion out over the middle and some space. Moving ahead and forward for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. And down all the way across midfield to the Michigan 45-yard line. Not a receiver in the starting lineup. Take a second here. We'll figure out who that was for you. Believe it was, we'll see, it was Josh Hicks, actually, the return man. in at receiver there for Rutgers as he took it for a big gain, 1st and 10 at the Michigan 45-yard line. Rashino was under pressure but got it off in time. Now on 1st down, gives the handoff and brought down right at the line is Robert Martin.
About 4 minutes of game time ago, Michigan was feeling great. They were up 7-0, and their defense was stopping everything. Now Rutgers has 2 big plays to light some fire under back-to-back drives. Michigan in trouble. If they give up another 1st down, Rutgers will be in field goal range and able to possibly take their first lead of the game.
And now on 2nd and 11 from the Michigan 46, 2 receivers to each side. Martin over to the left of Rashino, play action, he drops back, folds out of the collapsing pocket, crosses the 45-yard line and out of bounds for a gain of 1 maybe. We'll get back to 3rd and long, make it 3rd and 10. In pursuit there, Khalik Hudson driving him out of bounds.
We saw 3rd and long on the last series, and Rutgers was able to turn that into a huge gain that went for 28 yards. We'll see if the Wolverines can do better on defense after 3rd and long.
Michigan showing 6 in the box. As Rashino now again looks over to the sideline for the audible. Chris Ash has used it well so far today, throwing Michigan off with the formations. And now Rashino back again. He drops back looking to pass. Coming around the outside, there's going to be a hold. It should have been a sack for Michigan, and now Rashino forced to throw it away. Chase Winovich came around the left-hand side and was about to bring Rashino down, but a very clear hold should knock Rutgers back 10 yards if Michigan chooses to accept the penalty. Otherwise, it's 4th down on the incompletion.
Yeah, I think everyone in the stadium knew about
Holding.
that one.
Offense, number 54. Pills decline. 4th down.
And again, the inexperience on the right side of the Rutgers offensive line, Kamal Seymour giving up the hold. Michigan declining, 4th and 8 now. And Rutgers will be forced to punt on short field.
Winovich was about a yard away from Racino. He could have easily gotten all over him, but instead, Kamal Seymour has to just take Winovich to the ground. Pretty good tackle it was, however, he's on offense.
Ryan Anderson back to punt. Donovan Peoples-Jones standing on the 10-yard line. Taking their time with the snap. Now Anderson has it. Puts a leg through it. Skies it towards the 15-yard line. No call for fair catch as Peoples-Jones called that the right way with the spin as it rolled backwards across the 20-yard line out close to the 25. And now there was a worthy note that I was holding on to until we got out here on the drive. Brandon Peters was officially taking snaps from Patrick Kugler on the sideline, and it's time.
Yeah, O'Corn is walking back toward the sideline. He took a step out there. And yeah, I see 18 Peters. He is in the huddle with the offense that's going to go on the field.
7:01 remaining in the 2nd quarter. And now the opportunity for the young man from Avon, Indiana, Brandon Peters.
Worth noting, Peters is 1-for-1 on the season. He had a completion on 4th and 1 in the Purdue game where WCBM was out there in West Lafayette to cover that one. And now Peters gets a little bit more favorable field position with Donovan Peoples-Jones wisely not calling a fair catch as the ball bounced off the heel of a Rutgers punt coverage player and took about 10 yards back towards the Michigan side of the field. Towards the end zone Michigan is working towards. Very favorable Michigan bounce right there to help Peters get a little bit shorter of a field for his first drive in a meaningful portion of the Michigan game.
And again, the entire offense, all 30 of them in a huddle on the sideline at the 25 with Jim Harbaugh dead center. Peters on the outside, jumping around, warming his body up. And this is something that Michigan fans have been pining for since the moment John O'Corn threw his first interception. This fan base eager to see good quarterback play, and I'll tell you what, if Peters throws a couple incompletions here to start, I would not be surprised if the Boo Birds came out again. They just cannot be pleased, but for now, Peters taking the field, and Michigan fans put up or shut up, really.
Yeah, you gotta be careful what you wish for. This could backfire for the Wolverines. We have not seen hardly any of Peters in game action. A couple of handoffs and one completion for 1 yard. Well, it was 4th and 1. It got the 1 yard. I don't know if it got any more, but
boy, listen to this. I'm going to turn it up just for a moment. Michigan Stadium is on its feet for Brandon Peters. They've been waiting for this, if you couldn't tell.
Undoubtedly the loudest they've been all season, or this game.
1st and 10 on the Michigan 23. Peters will start in the gun with Karan Higdon to his right. He's going to have Eddie McDoom split out wide to the left, Grant Perry in the slot, Donovan Peoples-Jones on the right. Peters takes the snap, hands off to Higdon. Higdon's got room on the left, gets around the 20, 25-yard line, out to the 30. He's tripped up on the sideline, make it a gain of about 7 on 1st down.
And the crowd is so enthused right now. Peters just handed the ball off, and they're yelling way more than they did for any other run so far this game, with the exception to
it was a crisp handoff. They really appreciated the form.
And the lack of not fumbling the snap.
Yes, the snap handling was great. And now Peters is going to go under center from the eye. Bunched up here on 2nd and 2. Zach Gentry, the tight end, in motion to the left. Peters gives the handoff. Higdon pushing forward. He's got the 1st down and then some across the 45-yard line, down to the 43-yard line. Pickup of 13 on 2nd and 2 for Michigan's 1 RB, Karan Higdon.
I think Karan Higdon's done a great job knowing he doesn't have to force things today. He's been waiting behind his offensive line right there. I can't identify which offensive lineman it was, but I believe it was Awenu. He just waits behind him and for a hole to develop and then exploits it once that hole is there.
They want to see this man throw. Peters is under center. Split receivers right and left. Ty Isaac in the backfield. Peters fakes the handoff, play action, rolling right, gets it out to the tight end Ty Wheatley for a 1st down across the 45-yard line, and there you go.
And Peters Mania has begun in Ann Arbor. A pretty looking pass finds the Buffalo native Ty Wheatley.
This stadium, the noise would have just told you that Michigan won the game by 25 on a 1st down pass to Ty Wheatley.
Oh, they are loving it here in Ann Arbor. There's so much energy in the crowd right now. It's really quite amazing.
The play action rollout, good officially for 15 yards. It's on the Rutgers 42, 1st and 10. Offset eye, Nate Shanley, the lone receiver on the left. Handoff to Kareem Walker. He's got room on the right-hand side. Pushes a man off him, gets across the 40 and down to the 38. Gain of 4, 2nd and 6.
Graves does a great wrap-up tackle, gets Walker by both legs, and it's allowed him to get outside of that tackle. Was he able to shake that, he would have had a lot of yard down the sideline. Good tackle there, 2nd and 6, medium yardage. We'll see if Michigan starts passing more now that they have more confidence in their throwing game.
Little room to toy around. Nate Shanley, lone receiver on the left. That's meant a run play every single time we've seen it so far today. Ty Isaac in motion out wide to the right now. Peters drops back. He's going to throw. Looking over the middle. Has it complete. Across the middle and down over the 30-yard line is Henry Poggi, the fullback. Another 1st down. And boy, Michigan fans are going to say, I told you so, for the ones that said bring in Brandon Peters for the moment.
Yeah, it's not difficult to ask for a new quarterback when one is struggling, but nonetheless, I think they're going to take a lot of pride here. Brandon Peters still perfect for his career.
Pickup of 10. Now Michigan bunching. Deep eye. Poggi and Isaac. Peters gives the pitch to Isaac as he works around the left-hand side across the 25 and squirts down to the 23-yard line. Ball popped out as he came down, but was only after his back had rolled over the turf here.
Jawan Harris, who had the interception and did play most of his collegiate career at wide receiver with a good tackle there, stopped tripping up Ty Isaac before the 1st down marker.
Gain of 5 makes it 2nd and 5. And again in the eye. Peoples-Jones is going to split out wide to the right. And now Nico Collins, who had his red shirt burned last week, is out wide to the left. Play action, looking for Collins. They've got him at the 15. He pushes forward inside the 10-yard line. Great job on the curl there for Nico Collins.
And Brandon Peters' 4th career completion and 4th career attempt goes to number 4, Nico Collins.
4s all around. And now Michigan deep inside Rutgers territory, threatening to get back into the lead here. 3:17 remaining in the 2nd quarter.
Wolverines will now have goal to go. They've struggled so far this season in those situations. But they are 1 for 2 today, I believe, scoring a touchdown on their 2nd attempt from a and goal situation.
It was a completion for 12 yards to Collins. And now Michigan in a bunch formation with Nate Shanley out to the right. Give the handoff to Karan Higdon. He pushes forward across the 5, has some room, continues pushing across the goal line. Touchdown, Michigan.
You can hear the crowd loves it, but I think Karan Higdon just robbed the crowd of seeing what they all wanted. Brandon Peters' first career touchdown completion.
It don't matter. 6 points for the Maize and Blue. Put them back in the lead, 13-7, pending the extra point. 2:49 remaining in the half. And boy, Brandon Peters comes into the game in the stadium back to life. And Michigan football, it would seem on offense, back to life as well.
And a good point, JP. It still counts for 6 points just the same, even if it is not a Peters touchdown. Although that might feel like 100 for the Wolverine faithful if he does complete one into the end zone.
Now with the extra point. The snap. The hold from Garrett Moores is up. And Norden knocks it through. 14-7, Maize and Blue.
Michigan may have gotten another favorable spot on that one. It looks like Karan Higdon was rolling into the end zone.
It was a good touchdown, no review. And Michigan back up by 7. And now we talked about getting the momentum going. Maybe that is what this offensive coordinator, Tim Drevno, was looking for. The minute Michigan gets down on offense and things get quiet, you know you can rile the crowd up by giving them Brandon Peters. Sacrificial tribute does well on that drive. 3 for 3, 37 yards. And it's all capped off by a 10-yard touchdown run from Karan Higdon. 8 plays, 77 yards. Knocked 4 minutes and 12 seconds off the clock. Michigan killing time of possession so far today. Doubling up on Rutgers, 18:04 to 9:07.
Yeah, it appears Drevno has the ultimate solution now for the poor attendance today for the Wolverines. Still, you know, tens upon thousands of fans here in attendance. But right below us in the student section there, the last 15 rows are more or less empty, maybe about 20% full. But the rest of the stadium is filled in pretty well as fans are showing up to this early game. But that really got the crowd back into this game. Anytime Peters drops back to throw, the crowd was just loving it.
Again, you're listening to Michigan football on 88.3 WCBN FM Ann Arbor. Daniel Thompson, Jeremy Parks. First half here in Ann Arbor, it's been a raucous one, to say the least. For a 14-7 game, there's been a lot of action.
Yeah, well, and a lot more action-packed in the second quarter. 3 touchdowns in the second quarter. We still have 2:49 to play. If Michigan does get the ball back, it would presumably be a 2-minute or less type drill, and we could see a lot of Brandon Peters action, and that would really get the crowd going.
An interesting note on Rutgers, they are a good third quarter team. They've outscored their opponents by 18 in the third so far this year. However, they've been outscored in the fourth overall by almost double, 28-53. So the second half, not necessarily something that Rutgers wants to bank on. Down by 7.
No, they've had a big play offense. If they haven't gotten big plays, they've had to punt the ball away quickly. I'm sure they don't want to give Brandon Peters a try at his first career 2-minute drill. So they're going to look to try to get the ball moving, not get the ball back into Michigan's hands. Now, Rutgers will receive the kickoff first half, so scoring isn't of the utmost importance right now, but it sure would be nice.
Out of the TV timeout. Michigan getting ready to set the ball down here. James Fogue, the kicker. Janarian Grant back deep. As Rutgers shows a shift on their return coverage here. And now finally we're out of the TV timeout. He came back onto the field after I thought we had been given the signal to roll. James Fogue sets it on the tee. Janarian Grant alongside Josh Hicks. Back to return. Fogue with the jump at the 25. Wraps around. Takes the run up to the ball. The team follows. The foot is through it. Back underway. Return by Grant. Picked up at the 3. He's pushing forward. He's got some room across the middle. He trips on himself. He had a wide open path to the end zone. Tripped at the 30-yard line, and that is poor coverage by Michigan, but a saving grace as Janarian Grant almost took it back 97 yards for a touchdown had he not tripped on his own lace.
Yeah, Fogue has done a fantastic job so far today avoiding Grant, but right there he kicks a returnable ball, and Grant was the fastest person on the field, it looked like there, until he tripped.
And Grant knows he had it, came up immediately disappointed with himself.
Perhaps a little bit too fast for his own good even on that one.
Either way, Rutgers will start at their own 31-yard line as Rashino fakes the handoff, play action, pushing around. Rashawn Gary just man-moved, pushed him into the backfield, and now a throwaway. Rashawn Gary looked like a bad man on that one, pushing Kamal Seymour down as he was looming over Giovanni Rashino. Oh my goodness, knocked him over like a pile of bricks right there.
Yeah, really made it look effortless. Basically no resistance from Seymour there as Gary shoves him to the ground and starts sprinting at his quarterback.
Incompletion, thrown out of bounds, 2nd and 10, but boy, Rashawn Gary makes me want to run through a brick wall. Rashino has his back. Gus Edwards to his right, gives the handoff to Edwards. He breaks up the middle. He's got some room. A flag is down back at the line of scrimmage. It will be a first down for Rutgers pending the penalty. Gain of about 15 by Gus Edwards. We'll get the call here in a moment. Probably a holding back on the line, best I can tell. And here you go.
Holding, offense, number 55, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
And that is on the center, Michael Mayetti. And that'll push Rutgers back. It looked like it could have been a good gain again up the gut for the Scarlet Knights, but pulled back to 2nd and 20 now.
And that's going to stop the clock, force the passing situations, and give Michigan a lot of time. 2.5 to go still, and all 3 timeouts for both squads.
I think Michigan might call a timeout here if it's short, makes it 3rd and long.
Absolutely, a short pass or run play that gets results in a tackle inbounds, I think would definitely merit a timeout here from Jim Harbaugh.
We'll see what Rutgers does here. 2 receivers out to the right, the tight end, and a lone receiver to the left. Now the tight end, Washington, in motion to the right. A handoff on 2nd and 20. This one goes to Edwards, and he is stopped at the line. Maybe got 2-3 yards out of that as he pushed the line of defenders forward. As the clock continues to tick, no timeout from Michigan, ticking under 2 minutes here, remaining in the second half. And now it stops at 1:56. And it will be a timeout for Michigan.
Wonder what took the Wolverines so long to call that timeout.
They did waste about 5 seconds after the play. 1:56 now.
Yeah, 5 seconds that might be dearly missed going into the stretch.
Nope. They put it back on the clock. It is 2:04. They did get the timeout off faster than we had seen.
Okay, so yeah, must have just been a miscommunication there with the game clock manager or something. But that is a very sensible call there for the Wolverines. It's 3rd and 17. You got to think Rutgers has a very poor chance of picking this up. And that
would leave Michigan with an opportunity to get some more points on the board here, only up 7 going into halftime.
Yeah, ball's presently on the 24, so if Rutgers were not to gain a single yard here, Michigan would have pretty good field position to go. They've had 2 drives of over 70 yards for touchdowns already today.
Well, it's going to be Rashino out of the gun as it's been all afternoon. Splitting out wide to the right is Damon Mitchell. Rashino takes the snap. He's looking over the middle, trying to get the screen out. It's complete over the middle, but wrapped up in the backfield. Gus Edwards had it on the drop, and he's going to be dropped in the backfield for a loss, and the clock will now stop again at 1:56 as Michigan calls their 2nd timeout.
And I think Michigan has to be pretty pleased with that. They do have to burn a timeout, but in exchange, they get 5 better yards in field position as that play goes for a loss of 5 yards. Mike McCray all over Gus Edwards immediately, and they get some help from Rashawn Gary.
I think the initial call, Rutgers was looking for something down the right sideline, unable to find it, and then on the check down just got it out to Edwards, and probably would have been better just throwing it out of bounds. But
yeah, certainly, and then Chase Winovich was in there right away, forced the issue, but made Rashino have to get the ball out of there quicker. And I think, yeah, Rutgers would prefer to have the field position rather than the timeout they forced Michigan to burn.
This will be the 4th punt of the afternoon for Rutgers.
Peoples-Jones standing at his own 40.
Michigan with a good opportunity to put themselves in a healthy position to score again before time runs out in the 2nd quarter. Back to punt is Ryan Anderson, and as you said, Donovan Peoples-Jones standing on the Michigan 40-yard line. Anderson, low snap, picks it up, gets a leg underneath it, pretty short. That's going to bounce, and it's actually caught out of the air by a Rutgers defender inside Rutgers territory at the 49-yard line. And you would think you'd let that bounce and just see where it goes.
I was about to ask you, when was the last time you've seen a player do that when the ball was not within the 5-yard line?
It was a very short punt off the leg of Anderson. And yeah, it's just fielded at the Rutgers 49. Yeah. Must have thought that the spin on the ball was going to send it backwards, but Jones just called himself off. He ran away as that was still coming in.
Yeah, I think he definitely had to let that bounce. Nonetheless now, very short field for the Wolverines.
49 yards to go to hit pay dirt with 1:49 on the clock. Brandon Peters out of the gun. He's got two receivers to the right. Gives the handoff to Higdon on the first play. Breaking across the right-hand side, limited to just a few. Gain of about 3 on first down as the clock will run. Michigan has 1 timeout left. We'll see how conservative they go here. Quinn Norden obviously is hit from 56 yards this season, so they don't have too much further to go to get into field position. Again, another handoff to Higdon as he bursts forward again for 3 yards.
And now, of course, you have to pick up first downs in order to score. It's going to be 3rd and medium now.
Should be about 3rd and 4. 1:16 seconds ticking. And now Michigan's going up tempo with Peters in the gun again. Higdon to his right. He drops back, looking to pass. Gets it over the middle. Complete to his tight end. Across the 30-yard line to Zach Gentry. First down in Michigan, officially in field goal range with a little over a minute left here in the second quarter. Nice pass right over the middle to the big tight end, former quarterback out of New Mexico, Zach Gentry. No halfback. Oh, Peters out of the gun, lofting it towards the right-hand side, looking for Peoples-Jones, and just a bit too far out of bounds.
And there it is, it finally happened. Peters' first career incompletion. Still 5 for 6 on his young career, though.
Was trying to target Donovan Peoples-Jones, a little bit too much air and pushed it a little too far over the left sideline. The quarterback, Damon Hayes, trying to show that he was a lockdown defender in coverage, but really there was no way that Peoples-Jones was going to get the ball anyways.
Yeah, an uncatchable ball is going to sail out of bounds either way, but Michigan in scoring position.
That leaves it at 2nd and 10, 46 seconds on the clock. Ty Isaac in the game at halfback. Peters, hands off, up the middle goes Isaac. He pushes to the 20-yard line, across the 20 for another first down, and the clock will stop as they reset the chains, 41 seconds left.
That extra half a yard to pick up the first down was huge, but that slows the clock down for a moment.
Up tempo, Peters under center. He's got Perry split out wide to the right. He's immediately looking right, gets it across over the middle, incomplete, almost intercepted the first poor throw of the afternoon from Brandon Peters. He was looking for the quick slant route, eyed his man down the whole way, and nearly picked off. As it falls incomplete harmlessly, nearly an interception for Kai Hester, the safety.
Still 29 seconds to go and 1 timeout.
And 2nd and 10. Michigan would love to put another touchdown on the board before the half. Interesting set. Peoples-Jones and Nico Collins are the 2 receivers out to the right. Grant Perry now shifting into the slot to make it trips. Chris Evans, the tailback. Peters trying to find the go route to Evans. He's got him. Caught! Touchdown, Michigan! Chris Evans checks into the game, takes the go route, and a nice fade throw over the back shoulder from Brandon Peters across the end zone, 20 yards, and Michigan hits pay dirt before the half. How about that? Something you haven't seen all season long from the Maize and Blue.
No, that's a throw that both O'Korn and Spate have struggled with greatly so far this season. I know in the Florida game we saw Spate on a similar route, except the man was uncovered and he just overthrew his man. Kakilla Crawford, I believe it was. And
that is almost an identical route that Michigan saw go for a touchdown for Saquon Barkley last weekend. Meanwhile, the extra point is up and good, 21-7 with 23 seconds remaining in the half. And like I said, Michigan put man coverage on Saquon Barkley with Mike McCray, and it was a touchdown for the Nittany Lions. Michigan almost taking the exact same play out of the book. Single coverage over the shoulder to Chris Evans. Got it across the line for a touchdown, 21-7.
And there Peters looks a lot more like Trace McSorley than any Michigan quarterback of late. Perfectly hits the near shoulder for Chris Evans, right where it was still an easy ball for Evans to catch, and no chance for the Rutgers defenders to get to it.
I'm going to take a second here to clean my glasses off, Daniel, because I think Michigan might have an offense. I can't quite tell.
Well, it might be a little bit early to call that. We'll see how the second half goes.
And again, the opponent in mind as well, but a good start for Brandon Peters in his young career. And again, all of those Michigan fans that for weeks have been pushing for Peters to come into the game are going to be extremely annoying on Twitter for the next week and a half.
Got to be careful on this kickoff. Grant nearly ran the last one back.
They need some coverage improvements. Grant would have had a wide open run to the end zone, but tripped over himself as he was hitting the hole at the 30. As Fogue takes the jump at the 25, runs up and puts a leg through it. It's deep into the end zone. Fielded a couple yards deep. Nope, over the head of Grant as he lets it bounce. And it'll come out to the 25. Rutgers, I'm guessing, will just take a knee to end the half here.
And with the wind, Fogue is able to kick the ball just long enough so Grant can't realistically return it. Avoids a late Rutgers score before the half. And taking a 2-score lead was really big for the Wolverines because Rutgers will be receiving the opening kickoff. Now they can likely have the ball with the lead for every single snap of the second half.
Michigan's defense trying to send this one into halftime, having given up only 7 points. Again, the 7 points for Rutgers coming off a 65-yard Wildcat run from Janarian Grant. And yep, Rutgers will line up in the V and take a knee here. Rashino takes it, sets it down, and that'll do it for the first half here in Ann Arbor. It was touch and go for the Wolverines for the majority, but checking into the game in the second quarter was Brandon Peters. He went 5 for 7 for 69 yards and a touchdown. You want to guess what the QBR on that is?
I'm going to go with a college QBR can get really high.
201.
Okay, 201, yeah.
201 for Brandon Peters in the first half, and 21-7 as they go into the locker room. Daniel, your thoughts on how Michigan played there in the opening half?
Defense, we saw more of the same as we have all year. They've been a little bit suspect to giving up big plays. However, they've responded very well to that, and I think we'll see a lot more of the same from them. I don't see them giving up more than another touchdown, and I think it's a new Michigan offense. They look a lot more revitalized. They can now run and throw, and that's going to torture the Rutgers defense.
Right alongside Texas football, Michigan football is back in the first half here against Rutgers. We'll be back in just a few minutes. We're going to leave you with the ambient sounds of the halftime show here from the Big House. On the second half call, it'll be Austin Falco and Austin Fisher. For Daniel Thompson, I've been Jeremy Parks. You're listening to Michigan football coverage on 88.3 WCBN FM Ann Arbor. We'll be back in just a few. Go Blue.
Together, we could accomplish great feats beyond what any one person could do. We are Michigan. After 200 years, we can never forget why we lead. To advance knowledge, to serve the public, to do good. That is our way forward.
Ladies and gentlemen, this summer, the National Baton Twirling Association National Championship was held in South Bend, Indiana, with more than 90 universities represented. The Michigan Marching Band's Shaylin Albrecht won the 2017 National Collegiate Twirling Championship. And the Michigan Marching Band's Olivia Nagris won the title of Collegiate Downfield Champion. Both twirlers competed in the two events, with both titles being won by our Michigan Band twirlers. Then in August, Shaylin represented Team USA in the International Baton Twirling Federation Grand Prix in Croatia. She finished 6th in the senior women's 2-baton competition and 9th in the 1-baton competition. We are so proud of both of our twirlers. Please join us in congratulating Michigan Marching Band's Shaylin Albrecht and Olivia Nagris, 2 Michigan National Champions. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the Michigan Marching Band.
Do you feel it? The beating heart of Michigan. Pierces autumn, shooting shivers, pulling 110,000 to their feet, lifted by swelling pride. Brass that shocks the air and warms the core. joining spirits and linking rhythms. The beating heart of Michigan, its voice is ours. The sound of 121 years of every man and woman who called his campus home. The sound of fervor, of grit, of victory.
Ladies and gentlemen, today the Michigan Marching Band and Alumni Band present Always Marching, Forever Valiant, a salute to the University of Michigan's 200th birthday, a bicentennial celebration. The University of Michigan has always stood as a leader. Today we sing to the colors. Hurrah for the yellow and blue.
beating heart of Michigan.
Pounding to a tempo set by Wolverines.
Not just on Saturday,
but every day, for 200 years.
It's a tempo set by students and professors, staff and alumni.
here at home,
And abroad.
in the lab and on the stage, in the classroom and in the community.
A tempo felt on the battlefields for social and economic justice.
Life-saving heroes.
And the future of our planet.
It's a tempo that binds us, a tempo that drives us.
Forever marching forward, together. For if one victor can change the world, 500,000 are sure to.
And if Michigan marches into its third century,
We'll be there to lead the way.
Now joining us on the field, the Michigan Alumni Band, plus 140 Michigan marching band parents and students. As we prepare for the third century of leadership, we simply say, and to Michigan, the leaders and best. and the University of Michigan Bicentennial Committee for their generous support in the creation of today's Bicentennial Halftime Show. Ladies and gentlemen, the Michigan Marching Band and Alumni Band. Michigan Marching Band would like to thank Susan Meyer-Ross, class of 19 today's performance in honor of Michigan marching band alumnus John Stout, who passed away in April. John's musical arrangements have been the cornerstone of the Michigan band's halftime performances in the Big House for almost 40 years. His devotion to the University of Michigan band program was an inspiration. We have lost a valiant victor. Today we celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Michigan Alumni Cheerleaders Association, which was the first group of its kind ever formed at any college or university. The group was first organized and held its first reunion October 21st, 1967 at the Michigan football homecoming game versus Indiana. Today, 74 Michigan alumni cheerleaders return for this special reunion. The oldest returning alumnus is cheerleader Dave Lake, class of 1950. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for all of our Michigan alumni cheerleaders.
Hi Michigan fans, I'm Emma Way from the Big Ten Championship Delegate Team. Join us tomorrow at 12 p.m. at Oakland Field as we take on Ohio State in the Big Ten quarterfinal game. Admission is free. Hope to see you there in November.
Please help Michigan's athletic department support the University of Michigan's initiative on sustainability. Please put all your trash in the proper compost recycle bins. Enjoy the game.
everybody, and welcome back inside Michigan Stadium here in Ann Arbor for WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan football. In our first half of action between Michigan and Rutgers, we saw Michigan hop out to a 21-7 lead. The big story of the half, of course, Brandon Peters coming into the game, relieving John O'Korn there in the second quarter and immediately leading to 2 touchdown drives. What did you see out of the offense since Peters came in?
You know, Falco, I wasn't initially sold on the Brandon Peters hype, but after that last drive, Brandon Peters lit this offense alive again. With the problems still with the offensive line, but Brandon Peters seems to be able to mitigate those problems a lot clearer than John O'Korn was able to in the last couple of drives.
John O'Korn struggled early on, just 3 for 6, 13 yards and an interception. Meanwhile, when Brandon Peters came into the game, he responded immediately. As I said, leading that first touchdown drive. It still was majority of running on that drive. Ended up with a Karan Higdon 10-yard touchdown run to cap things off, and pretty much marching down the field, completed a couple passes. But really impressive there. With less than a minute left, Michigan got the ball back, and Brandon Peters went down, led a touchdown drive, including his first career touchdown to Chris Evans on a little wheel route. Finished off the half 5 for 7, 69 yards, and a touchdown. Those are just the passing numbers. The real story, though, for the game, the ground game so far out of Michigan and Rutgers. What did you see out of the ground game specifically that led to the Michigan lead this far?
So far, Michigan's ground game has been just great, unstoppable. Ty Isaacs combined for 83 yards today on 9 carries, while Karan Higdon's combined for 62 yards on 11 carries. That's a total of 168 yards, more than doubled Rutgers' run game for the day. So Michigan's able to punch it straight down the field with the run game over and over and over again. But it just seems that Michigan's passing game coming alive, combining with the rushing yards, Michigan looks like an offense once again.
We will not see the Michigan offense to start things here in the second half, though, as Rutgers deferred to begin the game and started the game on defense. They will get the ball here to begin the second half. Again, Austin Falco here on the call alongside Austin Fisher.
Hope that's not too confusing.
Nice and easy to remember. That's how I always like to think of it. If someone's talking, it's Austin. That's all you have to know. So it looks like Rutgers just about ready to receive the kick. Back there they have Janarian Grant and Josh Hicks. And James Fogg, the normal southpaw kickoff specialist for the Wolverines.
Been a lot of
leaps up and is ready to kick. He boosts this one deep down that left side. Janarian Grant's going to have a chance to return. He fields at the 5. He's running right across the 20-yard line where he is swallowed up, and he keeps fighting forward all the way down to the 25-yard line. Some tough running there by Janarian Grant. Janarian Grant, rather, puts Rutgers in solid field position to begin their first drive of the second half.
Janarian Grant really picked up an extra 5 yards after being touched on that. That man is a monster when it comes down to the receiving game.
He is definitely a threat to watch, especially in that return game, as you said, on kickoffs and punts. And we already saw him earlier on today. He has the lone Rutgers touchdown on the day, a 65-yard rush back in the first quarter of action. On a Wildcat play, he just blew past the Michigan defense. And speaking of the Michigan defense, they are ready to begin this first drive of the day. Rutgers comes out in an I formation, 2 wide receivers, 1 right, 1 left, a tight end tight slip formation on the left as well. Fullback goes in motion to the right. The handoff is to the right side. It was Robert Martin, the backup running back in the game, running right, able to get across the 25 out to the 27, 2-yard gain, or bring up 2nd and 8.
And that play is Mike McCray just found the hole right away and stuffed himself right into it. Rutgers wasn't going to pick up any yardage back there.
Mike McCray, good run stopper for Michigan. He's been exposed sometimes this year on little wheel routes or getting him out in space, which it looks like Rutgers is going to try to do here as he's out in the slot. As there are 5 wide receivers out there for Rutgers, 3 to the left, 2 to the right.
Watch Devin Bush on the blitz.
Devin Bush coming from that right side, looking left, is the quarterback. And it is dropped on that left side. It was a questionable call that we couldn't quite see. It popped out. It was Washington, the tight end, Jerome Washington, trying to make the grab.
You know, I thought it was great coverage with Khalid Hudson. He really hit him right as he got to the ball.
So bring up 3rd and long here for Rutgers. 3rd and 8 from their own 27-yard line. Watch out for Janarian Grant here. Rutgers' best playmaker. They're scrambling, though, with 14 on the play clock. Just getting the personnel on the field. They're going to have 2 split out right, 3 to the left. All alone in the backfield is Regino. He looks to the sideline to get a side. There's only 4 seconds on the play clock. He's got to hurry here. He tries to get the snap out. They just barely get it off. So he's looking left, but Rashawn Gary closing on him. He slips the tackle, still running left. Now he has to deal with Devin Bush there, and he's eventually brought down right in the middle by Chase Winovich. It's going to go for about a 6-yard sack back to the Rutgers 21-yard line.
Oh, Rashida was really able to get around that tackle from Rashawn Gary, but man, he came from 1 monster coming after him, ran straight into 3. Chase Winovich coming right after him.
Yeah, Rashawn Gary flew around that left side. He was the one that caused the initial pressure, and then it looked like Devin Bush might be able to clean it up before Chase Winovich came in and finished things off. So down on Peoples-Jones now, back to receive the punt from Ryan Anderson. Anderson takes the ball by his own 7. He boots it in the air. Peoples-Jones ranging over towards his left. He's going to feel it at his own 42. He breaks the tackle there. Gets twisted up a little bit. Breaks another tackle, but he lost the ball. The ball is out. Rutgers one. Waiting for a signal from the refs. The ball is down at the 45-yard line of Michigan. I think Rutgers had. There's about 4 Rutgers players, only 1 Michigan player in on the scrum. Waiting for the official signal. The referee has the ball. Still no official signal, though, as they already spotted it. Very odd situation here. Normally you get the call, and then they spot the ball. See if we can get our
Michigan's offense coming out to the field. Looks like it's Michigan's ball.
Referee Rod Snodgrass.
Rolling on the field is a fumble recovered by the receiving team. First down, Michigan.
So the ball does belong to Michigan. I don't know how they were able to come out of the scrum with that ball. I don't think Peoples-Jones was in any position to field it. I didn't catch who got in on that was able to pick it up.
You know, Donovan Peoples-Jones is great talent, but I get nervous with those punt returns. It's been a consistent problem all throughout the year with him playing very tedious balls.
So Michigan will start at about their own 45.5-yard line. Is where they end up spotting the ball. Brandon Peters still under center. Ty Isaac in the backfield. He's got 2 tight ends to the right, 1 wide receiver off to the right, and a receiver off to the left, Nico Collins. Peters now fakes the handoff. He's looking deep down the right side. He has a man. Now he hesitates and scrambles to his right, trying to find someone getting open. He goes over the middle or over the right side, rather than Ty Isaac, who catches it, running out of bounds across midfield. He'll be marked down and out of bounds at the Rutgers 44-yard line. That'll be a Michigan first down.
Great job on Brandon Peters there to evade coverage and get that pass off. Didn't look like there was any receivers open on that play. It's great to see him roll out and be able to get that pass off.
It looked like Donovan Peoples-Jones might have had a step or 2 on that one. It looked like that should have been his initial read. He was maybe a little hesitant in his first real game action here for the Wolverines. Didn't want to make the big throw and make a mistake. Nonetheless, a first down for Michigan. They come out in a big I formation, 2 tight ends, full back in the backfield. It's Khalid Hill leading the way for Ty Isaac, running left. He's out across the 40-yard line, down all the way to the 38-yard line. 37 is where they're going to spot him. Pick up about 6 yards. It's a Michigan 2nd and 4 upcoming.
Those runs have been Michigan's bread and butter today. They just keep on punching it up with Ty Isaac, Karan Higdon, and getting 4, 5, 6 yards per carry. That's a great way to run an offense. Old school Harbaugh style, but hey, if it works, it works.
One might say some good Midwestern football, some good Big Ten football, punching up the middle. As the clock ticks down to about 12 minutes remaining here in Michigan in a huge I formation, 3 tight ends, a fullback, and the running back is Higdon. He takes the ball going left. He finds a hole. He bounces out left. He's got space on the left side. He's down to the 20, down to the 15, breaks the tackle, tiptoeing around the out-of-bounds line. He gets all the way down to about the 8-yard line before being forced out.
I'm telling you, folks, that's the bread and butter of this Michigan offense. They punched it right out to the left once again, but that time Karan Higdon was able to pick up an extra couple of yards after he evaded that tackle.
It was the defensive end, Kamiko Turi, who eventually got all the way out there to make the play. So Michigan has the ball. They marked him all the way down to the 5-yard line. Michigan running quickly now. 2 tight ends, tight to formation. McEwen spit out wide to the right. Poggi now goes in motion. He's tight to formation. A lot of shifting going on for Michigan. It's almost like McKeon doesn't know what's going on. They're going to have to call a timeout.
Not really sure what was going on in that play. Everyone just looked confused out on the field.
It started out with Sean McEwen tight to the formation off to the right side of Brandon Peters. He then split out wide to the right. And then when they went to shift, it looked like Wheatley and Poggi both came from that right side. We're trying to shift over to the left side of the formation, trying to bring McEwen in. Very confusing play. It looked like McEwen was one that was screwed up, but tough to tell. If you have a first-year quarterback out there, really first-game quarterback out there, maybe not quite in command of the offense, getting everybody in the exact positions they want. Might be a little bit of nerves, but Brandon Peters hasn't let that get to him so far.
You know, Falco, we did see that motion earlier in the game where Poggi came out, tapped McEwen up, and they ran back over to the other side of the line, I was expecting a run out to the strong side, but it looks like there was something else going on the field. Any thoughts? Is Brendan Peters not having control of this offense yet?
I think it's a little rushed. I'm just speculating here. I mean, not saying a more experienced quarterback would have been able to sort that out, but generally you don't see those issues too often in terms of really lining up in the exact right spots. It happens, though, especially when you have a team as young as Michigan all the way across the board. The
youngest team in the nation, yeah.
As you mentioned, youngest team in the country. So you get little mental mislapses like that every once in a while. As they honor the veteran of the game, John Fredericks from the U.S. Army, served 1946 to 52, one of the best traditions here at the Big House, in my opinion, always honoring our veterans. Right about the third quarter mark, entire stadium, no matter what side you're rooting for, on their feet. As the stadium pretty much full, as you mentioned, the first half, which Jeremy Parks and Daniel Thompson. Aside from the student section, a pretty full house here for homecoming weekend.
No, it's always hard to fill the student section out in games like these. You get a cold weather, get Halloween weekends. How are you going to get students to come out to a noon game when they've been out the night before?
Of course, they were all up late studying last night, as the studious place. All of the students here at Michigan are always doing, of course, no other activity going on.
Studying in the costumes.
Of course, exactly. As you mentioned, homecoming weekend, there was a great halftime performance, too, by the Michigan Marching Band, along with the Michigan Alumni Band. A throwback here celebrating the bicentennial at Michigan, the 200th anniversary of the founding of the University of Michigan back in 1817, back in Detroit. It's come a long way since then.
In fact, at the beginning of this, Michigan wasn't even named the University of Michigan. Look, do you know the name of that original university?
You know, I've heard it called the University of Michigania. The Capital Epistemiad, I believe, was the official name for it also.
Capital Epistemiad. I know that's a mouthful, folks. But that was the original name of the University of Michigan back in 1817.
All right, so from the past back to the present here. And the present right now is Brandon Peters. He's under center. Fullback Ben Mason, Kareem Walker behind him in an offset eye. He hands off to Kareem Walker on a counter play going left, and Kareem Walker finds a hole and tumbles into the end zone. 5-yard touchdown run. Kareem Walker and a touchdown Michigan. Here begin the second half.
And if I'm not mistaken, that's Kareem Walker's first career touchdown at Michigan. Straight up the middle.
Ben Mason with the lead block there. As I just mentioned, he came in. They ran a little counter play reminiscent of the one they ran against Indiana that sprang Karan Higdon for a long touchdown. A giant gaping hole on the left side of the line that Kareem Walker just pretty much had to run straight through. And you could tell he was definitely fired up, dropping the ball in the end zone, stumbling back over to the sideline as Quinn Nordine on for the extra point. The snap, the hold, the kick, all good as it goes right down the middle. And the score extends out to Michigan 28, Rutgers 7 with 11:30 to go here in the third quarter.
Quinn Nordine's been ace on PAT attempts this year, minus that one back last week at State College.
Missed the one extra point, but otherwise hasn't missed a kick since back in the Florida game when he missed a couple of field goals. Everything else has been absolutely perfect for Nordine.
Gotta give him credit on those, though, Falco. Those were long kicks back in the Florida game.
They were long kicks. Just goes to show you, as a first-year kicker here, still doing a fantastic job is Quinn Nordine. They can always count on him, it seems like, but today they have not needed to. They've been relying on the leadership from Brandon Peters coming into the game, and all three drives he has led have all led to scores. 2 rushing touchdowns and a passing touchdown for him.
Just talking this through, we can really see the age of this team. We've got a redshirt sophomore at quarterback right now. We just had a redshirt sophomore run in for a touchdown and a PAT attempt by a true freshman.
All across this Michigan lineup. James Fogus, not one of them though, the 50-year senior, ready to kick off here. Been a little bit dangerous kicking engineering. Grant, he almost broke one earlier and tumbled all the way across the 25 last time. See if they decide to kick it to him here as Fogue puts his left leg into the ball and kicks it deep into the end zone. Grant's going to field it about 6 yards deep and not even think about returning it as he takes a knee.
That was a safe kick. They had the wind behind him on that one. If you're able to put Janarian Grant back into the end zone for a touchback, that's a successful kick for the Michigan football team.
So Rutgers will begin their second drive here of the second half at their own 25, about where they started last time. This one with a little bit easier effort from Janarian Grant. Didn't have to bring that one out. Michigan defense appears to be back. Really the only blemish on the resume, that long 65-yard touchdown run from Janarian Grant. Otherwise, they've held Rutgers just 29 passing yards, and they get that 65-yard run by Grant. 13 yards on the ground for Rutgers.
That's Michigan football for you.
And speaking of Grant, he's back in the Wildcat where we saw him break one earlier. He's on his tight end in motion to the left. He feels the snap, fakes the handoff. He's going to take it going right, but met over there by Khalid Hudson. He is brought down. The ball comes out. The ball is out on the ground. It's picked up by Josh Metellus. He's running towards the end, but they're going to say he is down at the 19-yard line. It did look like he went down to me, but we'll have to check the replay.
That looked like Jerry Grant was down on the ball in that carry.
So he was indeed down, but it will go down as a 5-yard loss on the play. Great tackle made there by Khalid Hudson.
Khalid Hudson's really filling the role that Jabril Peppers left on this team this last year. Well, as is Devin Bush for that matter. This team just looks younger and faster than we did last year.
Sometimes to a fault when they tend to over-pursue, but they did not on that one, as Khalid Hudson was just waiting for Janarian Grant off that left side. So now the more traditional quarterback back in the game in Rashino. He's back in the pistol, running back behind him. He fakes the handoff. He's looking left for a tunnel screen. It is caught. No, it is dropped. Dropped out there is the tunnel screen play, something Michigan has had trouble with in the past. It was Hunter Hayek was the intended receiver. Went in and out of his hands, so it'll bring up a 3rd and 15 now. Not the place you want to be against the Michigan defense.
No, Josh Metellus has looked great so far on this Michigan defense. Over to that last play, stopping the tunnel screen that Michigan's had problems with in the past.
You know, the lone man back in the backfield. There's 2 wide receivers to the left, 3 to the right. One of them now goes in motion from right to left. Rutgers still trying to get set. They're not quite set in the formation. Now they are. Shano looks over the defense, now looking to the sideline for an audible here. Play clock running down. There's that 1 second. He gets the snap off just barely, though, but Rashawn Gary's going to meet him, deliver a hit as he throws the ball, but caught over the middle by the tight end Jerome Washington. Right down the seam. A big pickup about towards midfield there by Giovanni Rashano.
Watching that from the booth, you can see Rashawn Gary come in to provide great pass rush on that last play. But we had Noah Forbush back up on the man coverage on that play. Noah Forbush, of linebacker, doesn't really provide the best coverage in that play. Great pass out, though.
So now 2 wide receivers right, 1 to the left. A tight end also off to the left. Rashano in the backfield, 1 running back to his left. He hands off here, going over the middle, cuts back towards the middle is Gus Edwards. He picks up about 4 yards before being taken down by Mike McCray. So it's 2nd and 6 now. It'll be at the Michigan 46-yard line as Rutgers officially across midfield. That log Washington grab was spotted exactly at midfield at the 50-yard line. Shano now back in the shotgun. Edwards to his left, 2 wide receivers to the right, and a tight end, 1 wide receiver to the left. He hands off here to Edwards, going over the middle. Edwards cuts back over the middle on almost the exact same play, it looked like. He almost forward for about 4 more yards. So he is nothing if not consistent.
No, Devin Bush really is a heat-seeking missile. You see him all over this field. Great tackle on that last play.
They have a brief injury timeout here. Potentially bad for Rutgers. It looks like it might be the left tackle Cole. We'll see if we can get a better look at it here. Easily Rutgers' best offensive lineman on a line that has struggled up front this year. It is indeed Tariq Cole, who is limping off the sideline. His backup would be a true freshman, Sam Vretman. So something to watch out for, a line that's already struggling against the pass rush from the likes of Rashawn Gary and Chase Winovich. Really, Rashawn Gary has had his way in this ballgame. It seems like he's in the backfield every single play. That should only intensify with a backup left tackle in there as well.
Here's hoping Tariq Cole's okay on that last play. He's walking off. It looks like he's heading towards the bench, not to the locker room, so all should be good. But Tariq Cole has NFL prospects looking for him in the future.
Yeah, Tariq Cole, one of the bright stars on this offense, along with Janarian Grant. And a pretty solid running back core, may have a future in football as well. They're going to bring up the medical tent on the Rutgers sideline.
No man is more important than the team.
And that's just where Tariq Cole will be headed, into a little privacy medical tent they like to pop up on the sideline over there. So we head to a timeout and a stoppage here.
Everything that you do, you take into consideration.
We have to imagine the freshman Sam Vretman is going to be in the game when they come out of this break. And as you mentioned, already a line that struggled. They're very young. A freshman center, redshirt freshman center, redshirt sophomore right tackle, adding a freshman left tackle into the game. Definitely a
Michigan's
concern.
defensive line, that is a rough offensive line to hold through.
A little fun tidbit for you. Sam Vretman, when he comes into the game, out of Uplands Vashi, Sweden.
Sweden?
Sweden.
Sweden.
So
Do they play football in Sweden, Falco?
Apparently they do.
Whew.
So an interesting substitution if at the very least there for Rutgers.
Oh my.
Probably not one they wanted to see here. But seeing as how Tariq Cole has not come out of that tent yet, looks like it's going to be a necessary one.
That's a level up from getting your punchers up from Australia. Finding your offensive lineman in Sweden, didn't know they brought him up there.
The 6'6", 305-pounder. Most likely be inserted at left tackle here when they get back from break. It'll be 3rd and 2 for Rutgers on the Michigan 42-yard line here on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan football. As the offense and defense look ready to go, but we're not quite ready yet according to the TV crew on the sidelines. They get the okay to go. The ball is blown in here. It looks like it's going to probably be a run up the middle here. A tight end offset. One wide receiver split out right to the left.
Michigan defense is lined up in a 4-3.
It's Edwards in the backfield. And imagine that's the one who's going to get the ball tight end in motion to the left, now back to the right side. It is a handoff to Edwards down the middle. He cuts it back to the right. He's got space, and he is brought down by Josh Metellus, but not before he gets across the 40-yard line for another 4-yard gain and a first down for Rutgers.
Devin Bush really saw that one coming, but just got stuffed in the line. Wasn't able to get to the hole.
Devin Bush, as you said, a heat-seeking missile out there is always flying to the hole. A great cutback there by Edwards, the fifth-year senior from Miami. He remains in the backfield here next to Rashano. 2 wide receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Rashano takes the snap. He's looking left after faking the handoff. He's trying to go and get his man over Cannell. Did he grab that ball? He did. What a grab there. Hunter Hayek, who dropped the pass earlier on the tunnel screen, makes a great one-handed grab over Tyree Cannell all the way down to the 17-yard line of Michigan.
That was just a beautiful catch. Straight over Tyree Cannell's head. Came it down with one hand, it looked like.
It looked like a one-handed grab, and Rutgers in the red zone here for the first time today. On the Michigan 17-yard line, they come out 2 wide receivers split right, 1 to the left, a tight end offset to the left as well. Edwards to the left to Rashano as tight end goes in motion right back to left. Rashano gets the ball going up the middle, spins off a tackle and gets all the way down to the 13-yard line of Michigan. A nice, nifty run there. He's brought down by Kalik Hudson after slipping the tackle. It looked like Mike McCray. Or rather, Maurice Hurst. Not an easy guy to break a tackle from. So Rutgers now 2nd and 6 from the Michigan 13. A bunch formation to the right. Tight to the formation. 1 wide receiver split out to the left. Edwards fakes the... Rashano rather fakes it. He's going to throw a screen pass to Edwards off to the right side. He's got space. He catches it. Has blockers in front. He rumbles all the way down. Breaks the tackle from Josh Metellus. Is brought down by Kalik Hudson after getting a first down to the Michigan 3-yard line, it looks like. A lot of misdirection on that play.
Great pickup in that last play. Michigan's defense did not see that screen pass coming down there.
There was a play action just on the straight up run, a play action on the reverse, and then found a little screen pass to Edwards. Did Rashano. Rutgers looking to cut this deficit here from 21 points. They bring in what looks to be a little bit of a heavier set. They got 2 tight ends to the right side, 2 wide receivers also off to the right side, 1 running back in the backfield. There is no one lined up off that left side. Edwards in the shotgun takes the snap, or takes the handoff rather from Rashano. He powers down over the middle of the defense to about the 1.5-yard line, gets about half of what he needed there. That'll bring up 2nd and goal from about the 1.5.
You know, Aubrey Solomon's been having a pretty great game. We haven't seen much of him through this year, but he's been on the inside of the defensive line all through the game today and been performing pretty well.
Yeah, normally when Michigan goes with that double defensive tackle set, it's Monet coming in, but today it's been all Aubrey Solomon. He was on the tackle along with Devin Bush there. Going to need him to come up big here on 2nd and goal. 3 wide receivers split out to the left. It looks like man coverage. Michigan stacking the box here against Edwards and the 1 tight end to the right. Rashano takes the snap, hands out to Edwards. Edwards powers through the right side and into the end zone. Touchdown, Gus Edwards. Touchdown, Rutgers.
Great run on Gus Edwards' part there. That man just has power through his thighs. You don't see Devin Bush getting beat like that often, but he just powered straight into Devin Bush and drove him back the yard to get into the end zone.
A really great drive all the way down by Gus Edwards. Once they got across midfield, they just went to him again and again, aside from that nice grab from Hayek.
Great
now with an extra point here, Michigan, or rather Rutgers, can make it a 14-point game. Andrew Hart in to attempt. The snap a little low. Nice recovery there by the holder. Put down, and Hart puts it through the uprights. So the score is indeed a 14-point game now. Michigan leads 28-14.
So do you see this game being this close? Would you call this game close so far?
Based on what we saw out of the Michigan offense coming into the game, I think you kind of expected it to be close just on the basis of the fact that Michigan wasn't able to run up the score like we've seen last year against Rutgers, even the year before when they were able to put up some big numbers against some less than stellar teams.
You know, Michigan scored 28 through the half right now. Michigan scored 29 alone in the second quarter last year against Rutgers.
They're really two different teams from both sides when you think about it. Michigan, obviously, last year, very experienced and really just tryed to make a statement there, running up the score a little bit, trying to get the highest seeding they could in the college football playoff that they seem to be destined to until a couple of roadblocks at the end of the season.
No, only
six
of last year's Michigan starters have returned this year. It's a completely different team. New names to learn all around.
And one of those starters, Wilton Spade, out with a back injury. Michigan's on their third string quarterback already, but does not look like a third stringer, does Brandon Peters out there.
Not at all. 6 for 8 for 79 yards. He's got right now a quarterback rating, a college quarterback rating of 199. And I can tell you a couple of Michigan fans here are probably disappointed that that rating's under 200.
Yeah, I think Michigan fans really holding him to a high standard.
Is Brandon Peters the savior of Michigan football?
When he came into the game, he completed his first 5 passes, I believe it was. Took it to about 6 to throw his first incompletion. Maybe one questionable throw that should have been picked off, but otherwise has looked good throwing the ball. And we can talk about the pass game all we want. We talk about Brandon Peters' 79 yards, but what it comes down to is the run game has really determined how this game has gone. I mean, Rutgers on that drive did hit a couple of big pass plays on 3rd and long, but once they got down into Michigan territory, they went to the ground and grinded it out. And that's something we've seen Michigan do pretty much all game today. When they've had success, they've been running up the middle, running those power plays behind big Micah Wenyu or some of these other big offensive linemen. A lot of pulling. You have Ben Bredesen leading the way a few times. That's something I think I would probably be looking for here. Michigan gets the ball back for their second drive of the second half, about 7 minutes remaining in the third quarter.
Looks like Ambry Thomas, as usual, is back to receive the kickoff. What have you thought of him this year, Falco?
There hasn't really been much opportunity for Michigan kickoff returns this season. When they've had chances, it hasn't been particularly good. That return in the first half where Thomas let it drop and then was able to get maybe 5 yards on the return was not ideal, to say the least.
You know, it's been the same with punt returns all year. Donovan People-Jones seemed to be the successor to Jabril Pepper's amazing punt returns, but so far he's just kind of fallen flat with his risky decisions.
So Andrew Hart to kick, or rather, not Andrew Hart, it's Ryan Anderson back there. The punter kicking off for Rutgers. He boots it deep. Ambry Thomas going to field at about his own 8-yard line. He bobbles the ball, now runs towards the left. Doesn't have much room, but he breaks the tackle. He's going on the left sideline. He cuts back towards the middle and out across the 35 down to the 40-yard line is Ambry Thomas. He is upset with himself that he did not have more. I think he's going to get a penalty for slamming the ball down right here. A little bit of a touchy call, but you cannot do that. You cannot just be slamming the ball down like that.
After the play, delay of game, receiving team, 5-yard penalty, first down.
And frankly, Ambry Thomas, a little bit lucky there. He didn't get called for a penalty. We saw Grant Perry earlier in the year when he got called for a 15-yard unsportsmanlike for messing with the ball after the play was over. He spiked the ball straight into the turf, so instead of getting the ball at the 39-yard line, Michigan will start at their own 35, or rather 34, after the 5-yard penalty.
Still not bad starting position for Michigan, especially with that kick inside the 10 with the wind coming right at him.
So 2 tight ends. It's Gentry now, the third tight end going in motion to the left. Hill, the fullback, leading the way for Higdon, running left, but he is swallowed up in the backfield there.
He just got stuffed on that last play. Wow, that wasn't even Michigan's right side offensive line problems. That was just pure Rutgers beating Michigan defenders.
Looks like the big defensive tackle, John Batekey, on the tackle. That'll be a loss of 1, and Michigan will be in a 2nd and 11 situation at their own 33. They go slightly lighter with the formation now. Gentry off tight to the right. McKeon to the left with Grant Perry and People-Jones. How Perry goes in motion to the right. Isaac in the backfield. Peters looking right for Grant Perry. Finds him on the swing route off to the left side. Perry breaks the tackle and is out across the 45. Out near midfield. Will be marked down at the 48-yard line of Michigan. That's enough for a first down here and move the chains.
Looks like Brandon Peters have loved those curls out by Michigan's receivers. bets. We saw that one with a similar wheel for Chris Evans on the touchdown back in the beginning of the game, and now we're seeing it with Grant Perry again.
So a nice pickup there. Look at Brandon Peters looking Grant Perry all the way and found him wide open on the little out route. There's some personnel changes now. As Michigan goes with Shanley in the ballgame. He split out wide left. Peoples-Jones to the right. 2 tight ends also in the game. It's Wheatley and Gentry off to the left side for Isaac in the backfield. Peters drops back to pass. He's looking towards that right side. He's going over the middle. Tyrone Wheatley and just too high for the big man. So tips off of his fingertips and incomplete.
I was not expecting Michigan to roll out for a pass play on that last one. You see Tyrone Wheatley come in the game, and even with Zach Gentry at that point, and you expect him to run straight behind Tyrone Wheatley's position. That man is a monster when it comes to his pass rush, to his run blocking.
Wheatley stands out there at 6'6", so a hard target to overthrow, but Peters maybe about a foot too high. It seemed like just off the fingertips would have been an easier catch. He brought it down. Now Peoples-Jones comes in motion from the left towards the formation. It's a handoff in the backfield there. No, it's not. Peters fakes it. Now he scrambles around. A little messed up play there. Broken play as one lineman away. He was way downfield as if it was a run. Not sure what happened there, but it's going to go down as a loss of 2.
Not really sure at all what happened in that play. That looks like a designed quarterback run. Not really sure there, but looks like Brandon Peters slid down real early to protect himself.
The play was blocked like it was supposed to be a run to the left side there, but Peters just kept the ball. Very confusing there, and Michigan's now in a 3rd and 12 situation at their own 46-yard line. They come out, 2 wide receivers split to the left, McDoom and Perry along with McKee and tight formation on the left. It's Higdon in the backfield. Peters drops back to pass. He's scrambling to his right. He's under pressure, but he throws over towards the right side. Is it caught by McCune? It is. It's caught by McCune across the Rutgers 40-yard line. What a throw. What a grab by McCune as he was under some serious duress there.
We got to give Brandon Peters a lot of credit on that last play. He was about to be sacked back down in the pocket. Rolled out and got that pass off. Didn't look like McCune could come down with it at all. Low pass, but was able to keep it in.
It's similar to what we saw from Rashano on that last drive. Took a hit to make a play and convert on 3rd and long. Did Brandon Peters. Michigan has the ball down at the Rutgers 38-yard line. Another first down. Peters now comes out under center. Kareem Walker in the backfield as Gentry goes in motion right to left. As they pitch to Walker to the left side, trying to get the edge. He is going to fight forward for about a yard or 2. Didn't get much. Tried to plow through the tackle. Was not able to. It was brought down by, it looked like Brandon Russell was over there.
Yeah, Kareem Walker was just not able to get the edge on that play at all. Too many Rutgers defenders out to the right.
Did a great job playing contain on that left side, not letting Kareem Walker get to the edge and use that speed we saw as a 5-star recruit. Michigan comes out, 1 wide receiver split to the left, 1 to the right, tight end tight formation. It looks like Gentry, Poggi, the lead blocker for Walker on the offset eye. As Walker gets the ball going up the middle, he's got a hole, he cuts back to the right. He's going to try to bounce around the outside. He stiff arms a man, breaks the tackle, gets out to about the 30, or gets out across 30 rather than the 28. Does he have enough for the first down? He does indeed. Great run there by Kareem Walker to get the last 9.5 yards he needed to move the chains. Michigan will be in business 1st and 10 at the Rutgers 28-yard line.
We haven't seen much Kareem Walker through this year, but in this game in particular, he has looked great so far.
Michigan bringing in an extra offensive lineman, it looks like, for this next play.
I don't know if you see this, Falco, but down on the sidelines, it looks like Kareem Walker's struggling with his ankle right now.
So it'll be something to watch here. Michigan comes out a heavy set. Not only the 2 tight ends, one of them being an eligible offensive lineman, but Shanley also in motion coming towards the formation. They hand off to Higdon going up the middle. He bounces off the backside of Bredesen, is able to pick up about 4 yards out across the 25 to the 24 of Rutgers. That'll bring up about a 2nd and 6 for Michigan. Under 3 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter. Michigan driving here with Brandon Peters under center, trying to convert on their 4th straight touchdown drive with the redshirt sophomore leading the way. They come out in a heavy set. Now they shift. Ron Higdon was literally lined up at the tight end spot, a tight end in the backfield. They shift around, so Higdon now at the backside of the I formation behind Khalid Ho. They pitch left to Higdon. He's not going to have much room to run, though, as a lot of Rutgers traffic was over there, led by Jawan Harris, the safety.
Yeah, Michigan's offensive line wasn't able to do much with that play. Ron Higdon wasn't able to set the edge either.
So a loss of 2 puts Michigan at 3rd and 8 here with 26, or at the 26-yard line rather. 2:10 left here in the 3rd quarter of play.
Michigan is in 2 for 5 today on 3rd down conversions. Let's see if they're able to do it this time around.
We just saw one of them that pass from Peters to McEwen earlier in the drive. They come out 2 wide receivers, split to left, 2 tight ends, tight formation on the left. Rather, the receivers are split out right. Khalid Hill, the only running back in the backfield. He's blocking for Peters as he tries to step up and throw. He throws over the middle, finds his tight end McEwen, but I don't think it's going to be enough for a first down. It'll be down just inside the 20-yard line, the first down marker at the 17.5, it looks like. Michigan may be going for it. It looks like they are. As Khalid Hill comes out of the ballgame, Ty Isaac comes in. Peters getting the play call. They bring in Poggi now, potentially a lead blocker for Isaac on what looks to be like 4th and 1.5, maybe 4th and 2, depending on how you spot it.
Watch as Khalid Hill is running in right now. They're probably going to punch it right up the gun with the hammering Pando once again.
10 seconds on the play clock. Michigan had a lot of indecision with personnel. They come out 2 tight ends. Khalid Hill now off to the left. Peoples-Jones off to the left as well. Isaac in the backfield. Khalid Hill now in motion. Back to the backfield, 2 on the play clock. They hand it off to Khalid Hill up the middle, but Rutgers calls a timeout. I think they might have stopped Khalid Hill there. It was going to be very close at the marker. So maybe regretting that decision will be Chris Ash. We'll see.
See, though, that play that Michigan was intending to run is Khalid Hill, Mr. Ol hammering Pandas, run straight at the middle. Always good for a yard or to punch it into the end zone.
Yeah, he is the go-to man in those short yardage situations. I think we talked at halftime a little bit, Austin, about how there's only really 2 games that Khalid Hill has struggled to punch the ball through that first line and pick up the necessary yard or 2 that Michigan needs. And that was the Ohio State game last year where it took him a few tries, but he ended up converting in the end. On last week against Penn State, stuffed a few times at the goal line before Karan Higdon's touchdown run back in the first half of that one, back when it was a little bit of a closer ball game. This one a 14-point game here at Michigan Stadium. Michigan leading Rutgers by a score of 28-14, 1:03 remaining in the third quarter. Listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan football, and we are certainly enjoying the Brandon Peters experience from up here in the press box. Really re-energized the crowd that had been lackluster, late to file in, really. Now very much into the game. Looks like the Michigan offense is still going to be on the field when they come out of this timeout. The timeout not going to make them rethink the decision.
105, please. Thank you.
So that was our head referee, Ron Snodgrass, resetting the clock. Instead of 103, it will be 105. Precious couple seconds being left on the clock here in the third quarter.
You know, Falco, I think this might be a great time for underground printing trivia question of the game. Can you dig up the answer?
We'll see if we can. What do you have for us, Fisher?
So, Michigan football has played 87 different opponents in homecoming games over the years. But how many, they played 87 homecoming games over the year, but how many different opponents has Michigan had in those 87 homecoming games? Is it 30 different opponents, 45 different opponents, or 18 different opponents?
Multiple choice. I feel like I know the answer. You did mention it earlier before the game. If anyone has any answers, make sure to tweet us at WCBN Sports. We don't think we have anything to give away for you, but you'll get a retweet. We'll give you a retweet if you get the right answer. As Michigan, they did rethink the decision as Quinn Nordine's on for the field goal. It's a 37-yarder. The snap is good, the hold is good, but the kick is no good as Quinn Nordine missed wide to the right side. It looked like it banged off the post behind the upright. Quinn Nordine's 3rd miss of the day, or of the season, rather.
May have jinxed Quinn Nordine at the beginning of this game. Talking earlier about how Quinn Nordine has been spot on with his PATs and kick attempts all year. That looked like a clean, easy kick from him up the middle of the field, but just wasn't able to complete.
So a disappointing end to the drive there from Michigan. Had such a promising start. Rutgers will take over with the ball at their own 20-yard line. Trying to make this a 1-score game. They'll come out in the shotgun. 2 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left, 1 tight end offset to the right. Shano sends him tight end in motion. First to the left, now back to the right side. He fakes like he was going to run a power play up the middle and then runs a speed option to the right. He pitches it out to the backup running back there. It was Robert Martin, but he was swallowed up on the play. Looked like Devin Bush flying over there along with Kalik Hudson.
I'm telling you, Falco, that man, Devin Bush, is a heat-seeking missile. He looked like there was nowhere to be on that play. Came out in the middle of the field, made that tackle once again.
And it goes down as a loss of 1 here. As Rutgers will have second 11 from their own 19. 30 seconds left. Might be the last play of this third quarter. 2 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right, 1 tight end to the right as well. Shano dropping match pass, looking towards that left side. Cannell is beat there by his man. It looks like, again, it was Hunter Hayek, but then he made the grab. No, he did not. It popped out when he hit the ground.
That throw was an absolute dime. Just couldn't come down with it.
So Hunter Hayek, he had that great grab earlier, but 2 drops on the day, and he's a couple of other targets.
Hunter Hayek really needs to come down with those balls. He had that one in his basket, but just wasn't able to hold on to it.
So now a 3rd and 11 here, and these Michigan pass rushers are going to pin their ears back and get after the quarterback. But not before Michigan, it looks like, maybe calls a timeout. We're getting a timeout.
The field was an incomplete pass. That plays under further review.
A review here of that last play. Hunter Hayek looked upset with himself. If I was guessing based on just pure player reactions, I'm going to guess that was incomplete, but we're going to look at the replay here momentarily.
Yeah, I don't see another situation besides that ball being incomplete.
Yeah, it looked like he had the ball originally, but Tyree Cannell, who was on the coverage, looked like he was beat. Smacked the ball straight out of Hayek's hands once it landed. And it trickled out. The only question is, was Hayek down and had possession? Do they rule that he was down and had possession before that ball came out? It's very close. I'm going to guess it will stand as incomplete based on the fact that when Hayek hit the ground, the ball started to move and pop out. It's the old complete the catch move. Lions fans know all about that one, as well as Cowboys fans.
As your resident Lions fan right here, I'm having flashbacks once again, Falco. Once again.
So you have to think the process of the catch is always the wording thrown around. That's got to be the deciding factor here, I'd imagine. And it does stand, does the ruling on the field. Did not complete the process of the catch when he came to the ground. The ball popped out. So Rutgers will be stuck here in a 3rd and 11 situation from their own 19. And
I don't know if you all can hear that at home, but those are the bells of the Undertaker chiming in. Michigan's defense on the 3rd down.
A little AC/DC in the background, firing up this crowd as they come to their feet here at Michigan Stadium, cheering on the defense. Try to stop Rutgers on 3rd and 11. 2 wide receivers to the right, a tight end tight to the formation on the left. As Rashano drops back the pass, but he's under pressure. Rashawn Gary missed him, but Aubrey Solomon did not. He knocked the ball out as well. Does Aubrey Solomon recover? No, he doesn't. Rashano recovers, but what a hit there for Aubrey Solomon. Rather, Chase Winovich had the name wrong there. He was flying around the end. Both Gary and Winovich on a 3-man rush were able to get home and sack Rashano for a loss of 3. That'll bring us to the end of the 3rd quarter. Rutgers going to be forced to punt on the other side of the timeout. But as it stands here on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan football, brought to you in part by Underground Printing, the score, Michigan 28, Rutgers 14, about 75% of the way through regulation here.
You know, Phil, that last play is truly a testament to the expertise of this Michigan defensive line. Rutgers had a nice mesh running up there. They had receivers open, ready to catch the ball, but Chase Winovich just ran in fast, was able to make the tackle.
That mesh concept worked earlier on some 3rd and longs for Rutgers. They were trying to go back to their bread and butter there, trying to make it work. But as you mentioned, that pass rush is just too much for these tackles of Rutgers. Just completely beating the right tackle, Seymour, out there. Kamal Seymour, the sophomore right tackle. And also on that left side, Sam Vretman, the freshman that came in replacing Rutgers' best offensive lineman, Tariq Cole. Just completely dominated by the 2 star pass rushers for the Wolverines and Rashawn Gary and Chase Winovich. Everyone has heard about Rashawn Gary coming into this season. He was the #1 recruit a couple years back. He had all the accolades, all the attributes, just the pure raw talent. Chase Winovich kind of stuck under the radar. Seemed he was almost a one-trick pony, just that speed rush around the outside, but has really transformed himself into a great defensive end thus far. Wouldn't you say so far this season? Chase Winovich really stepping up his game to another level.
Chase Winovich has looked great through this season, but I'm not sure how much of that is that Rashawn Gary's getting double team on the other side of the line. It's opening a lot more opportunities for Chase Winovich. Is this talent, or is it just the opportunity coming to present itself?
I think there is some aspect of not having to deal with the added pressure that Rashawn Gary takes away is worth noting here. As the band plays the Blues Brothers, Devin Bush on the field, dancing along to a really cool sight to see. They're really embracing the student-athlete mantra that they like to portray at the NCAA and the University of Michigan. The defense now goes back onto the field, rather the punt return unit. I said Rutgers punting here on 4th and 14 to begin the fourth quarter once they get the go-ahead from the officials.
Donovan Peoples-Jones is back deep again. Let's see if we can do something different with it. Didn't have a lot of great luck last punt return where he fumbled that ball, was able to return it.
He fumbled it. Michigan able to recover, though. They'd much prefer if they didn't even have to worry about the recover or the fumble this time around. It will be Peoples-Jones back to receive the punt from Ryan Anderson. Anderson heels on his goal line. Peoples-Jones at his own 42. Waiting for the go-ahead here as the teams are ready. It's about the second and third time today we've seen the teams ready to go, but just waiting for the go-ahead from the TV crew and the officials. They finally do get the go-ahead here, and Anderson ready to punt. Again, heels now at his 1 yard line. He takes a step up.
As always, Michigan will be coming straight after him.
Showing a lot of pressure here. Sometimes they like to back off and play for the return. Looks like they're going to come aggressively now, try to shoot a couple gaps, get a block if they can. There are 8 Wolverines all on the line now. A lot of them shifting over to the right side. See what they try to go through. They are sending a lot. They're not going to get there, though, as Anderson gets the punt off. The lefty boots it high and deep. Peoples-Jones has to retreat all the way back to his 31-yard line, make the grab. He's going to run right there, try to get the edge. Does he have enough speed? He does have enough speed to get the edge, but just barely. He's brought out about the 39-yard line, and possibly a late hit there as a Rutgers player came flying in at the end after it looked like Peoples-Jones was dragged well out of bounds.
Looked like a late hit to me, Falco, but I didn't see that flag pull out there.
No flag thrown at all. It looked to be a late hit. Rutgers getting away with one there.
That was Peoples-Jones really had that speed in that last play. A couple more years on him, and he'll be a great returner.
Great punt there, though, by Ryan Anderson, as Michigan starting at their own 39-yard line. They come out 2 tight ends, 1 on each side of the formation. 1 wide receiver split out left. It's Shanley. Poggi in the backfield with Higdon right behind him. Peters under center. Puts Shanley in motion towards the formation to the right. Now gives it to Higdon. Higdon up the middle, cuts back to the left after cutting right, and powers out across midfield, it looks like, all the way to the Rutgers 49. Another first down for Michigan. Another nice run there from Karan Higdon.
I'm telling you, Falco, that's Michigan's bread and butter, those power runs. Pushing through. Karan Higdon finds the hole once again and picks up the yardage.
Running fast now. Same formation, this time with an offset eye. Poggi off to the left of Higdon. Peters quieting the crowd down, checking out of a play. Gets the snap, hands to Higdon going left. He's cutting right behind the big Michael Wenyu, and he has a hole. He's breaking it down to the 30, to the 25, the 20, the 15, 10, 5. Touchdown! Touchdown, Karan Higdon. Touchdown, Michigan. And they extend their lead back out to 20 points to score 34-14 on another one of those power plays, just like you said there, Austin.
Back out to left once again. Michigan's power run is phenomenal on this game. I don't know what they're putting in their bread and butter, but it's definitely something more than just butter.
So a great run there by Higdon. Great blocking. It was the big Mike Onwenu, the right guard, pulling and plowing right through the hole on the left side. Open up just a gaping gap there.
49-yard touchdown run.
It is officially 49 yards for Higdon. 61 yards on the drive for him on just the 2 plays. As the extra point is up and good from Quinn Nordine. A little extra mustard on that one as he sent that one probably about 40 rows deep into the stands. A little upset with himself for missing that last kick, I'd imagine. The score, though, sits now at 35-14 in favor of Michigan here with 14-10 remaining in the ball game.
But can we recap that drive one more time? 2 plays, 61 yards, and 36 seconds. That was like a Penn State versus Michigan kind of play.
Karan Higdon playing the role of Saquon Barkley there, plowing ahead for about 12 yards on the first one, and then 49 on the next one, breaking it for a touchdown. It did look very reminiscent of the first drive Penn State had against Michigan just last weekend. Of course, we're not saying Karan Higdon is Saquon Barkley by any means, the Michigan offense, the Penn State offense, but just like you said, the quick strike ability. Nice to see they have an offense that has not shown it so far this year. Obvious opponent caveats apply, though.
You never know. Maybe Brandon Peters is the next Trace McSorley. Michigan had their Trace McSorley ready with Brandon Peters. Is he the new savior of Michigan football? Is he the spark in this Michigan offense?
Let's try not to set expectations a little too high there for the sophomore Peters.
It's not the expectations that I've been set. These are the expectations on Twitter and on MGO blog, sir.
And not only online, but also in the stadium. As you said, the crowd just took it up to another level, just a whole other level of excitement. Just really into the game ever since Peters came into the ball game, and now we're getting to the point where they might start to trickle out should Michigan tack on another score and hold Rutgers.
It's a cold day. It's Halloween weekend. It's homecoming weekend. You got parents in the stands today that might be leaving early to get out to their dinner reservations. It's a busy time in Ann Arbor.
I guess that's the benefit of the noon game, is you don't have to worry about necessarily missing dinner reservations if you have it late enough. We did trash noon games a little bit earlier in the first half for low attendance, especially from the students there, but we'll give a little credit for scheduling the noon game.
You know, I'm a fan of noon games. It gets cold up here in Michigan in the winters, in the late fall for that matter. It's November next week. It's 45 degrees outside. We're going to have this game at night. Oh, wait, Minnesota next week. Michigan plays that night. That will be a cold game.
That will definitely be a brisk one there. Got to make sure to pack extra jackets for that one.
Did they let you bring blankets into the stadium?
I'm not sure. I think you can. I do see some blankets just glancing down, at least on the seats, try to keep the backsides warm as you're sitting on the cold bleacher seats here at the University of Michigan at the big house. As we're trying to start the wave here, we officially reached wave territory for the first time this season, it looks like.
Oh, wow. 4 home games, and it's finally wave time for Michigan football.
Needless to say, a little bit underwhelming season thus far for Michigan fans. Someone who has not been underwhelming, James Fogue. Ready to kick off here. He's been great all year long, pinning opponents deep. He'll kick off to Janarian Grant here. He boosts it deep. Grant's going to have to go all the way back to about the right side. It looks like a lot of Michigan players honing in on him. He runs into a blocker, tries to cut to his left, but doesn't have much room at all. Able to get out to the 17-yard line, but that's it. Another great kick by Fogue and great coverage by the Michigan kickoff unit that has been really solid all season long.
They really have, and Janarian Grant's been pretty great this game too. He had that wildcat run earlier in the game, and I was expecting a lot more on that last return, but running straight into his own blocker, can't make much of that.
And that was the byproduct of having 4 Michigan players all on either side of each blocker there. Just great coverage. Fogue gets those kicks high enough, he gives his coverage team enough time to get down there. So now Rutgers comes out, 2 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right, a tight end also offset to the left. Now he's in motion to the right side. Back to the lefty. Rutgers formation have gone with a lot. It's a rollout pass here from Rashano. He finds that tight end. That's Washington out near the 20-yard line is where they're going to spot it. A gain of just 2, or rather a gain of 3.
Great tackle from Billy Hudson. Was it great on the coverage?
So he was able to get out there. There was a little out route there from Washington after coming in motion back across the formation. So crowd erupts as the wave is finally making its way around the stadium. Rutgers comes out, 2 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left, tight end also to the left. In the backfield, it looks like Gus Edwards next to Rashano. Rashano rolling out right now, trying to avoid that Michigan pressure, but Mo Hurst closing in on him. He throws to the sideline. Did he grab it inbounds? No, he did not.
Mo Hurst was really the key to that last play. He drove straight into him like he drives his Uber.
That was Lavert Hill on the coverage, and as you mentioned, Reese Hurst drove into him. I think it's going to get him 15 yards, and it will indeed, though. Roughing the passers. Reese Hurst did hit the quarterback, but just a little bit
first
too late.
down.
So a little too late there from Maurice Hurst.
I don't know if I really agree with that call on the play, but you hit the quarterback late, that's what you get.
You didn't get a chance to see a good replay there. That's all right, though, as Michigan now, or rather Rutgers offense was set up at their own 35-yard line after getting the first down the route from the pass after. It looked like they were going to be stuck in 3rd and long. They come out, 2 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the 2 wide receivers to the left, 1 to the right. They hand off up the middle. It's Edwards. He plows forward, breaks the tackle from Winovich, but is brought down by the likes of Mike McCray and Devin Bush. Gain of about 2 yards out to the 37-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 8.
Those are the kind of plays on Rutgers' last drive that really drove them downfield. Looks like Michigan's been able to adjust to stuff them on the run.
According to some of the people in the booth here, a soft call at the very least on Maurice Hurst, said to give it one-handed shove, but Rutgers now hands off right for Edwards. He's taken down after he gets about 2 more yards out to the 39. Look like Maurice Hurst and Mike McCray on the tackle there. So a 3rd and about 6 coming up. A long 6 for Rutgers. Not having a ton of success on 3rd down today, just 3 of 9. They're come out with 2 split out to the left, 3 off to the right side. Janarian Grant is the man to watch out there in coverage against Brandon Watson far off to the right side.
Watch the blitz of McCray here.
McCray showing blitz. Devin Bush also looking like he wants to come and show some pressure. It is McCray off the edge. They go quick pass over the middle, but it is dropped. Dropped by Josh Hicks over there. Normally the kick returner in at wide receiver. Went right through his hands on a slant route that I'm not even sure would have been enough to get a 1st down, but definitely does not help at all. Rutgers will be forced to punt yet again here in the 4th quarter.
Michigan's been great this game so far, putting pressure back in the quarterback.
Yeah, I just mentioned McCray, and it looked like Gary flew around that right tackle spot. They met at the quarterback, Rashano. So it'll be Anderson to punt it away. It's Peoples-Jones to return. He's going to let this go over his head, though, as it'll bounce at the 1-yard line and into the Michigan end zone. A booming kick there from the lefty Anderson. And it'll put Michigan starting at their own 20-yard line for their next drive here in the 4th quarter.
Anderson's punts have been absolute bombs throughout this whole drive.
Definitely impressive to see is get another timeout here on the field. 11:56 left on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan football. Michigan leading Rutgers by a score of 35-14. And really the stats will pretty much play that out if you look at the total stats for the day. 412 total yards for Michigan as opposed to just 185 for Rutgers. Just 92 yards on the ground for Rutgers, 283 for Michigan. That's really where the game has been won, is on the ground.
You know, Falco, I think this is the perfect time for the answer to our underground printing trivia question of the day. Can you dig up the answer? I think our man Daniel here in the booth gave us the correct answer with 18. Michigan, despite having 87 different homecoming games over their history, has had only 18 different homecoming opponents.
You know, we talked a little about logistics before the game. It makes sense a little bit given homecoming normally takes place during your conference season, and there's frankly not that many members of the Big Ten Conference, both past and present, that Michigan really would have played. I'm sure there's some Notre Dame mixed in there and a few other teams, especially back the beginning of Michigan football. But for the most part, it makes sense there's not too many opponents.
And it looks like we have word that Kareem Walker's ankle injury from earlier that we noticed on the sidelines has led him into the tunnel. So no more Kareem Walker for the rest of the game.
A shame to see Walker had 6 carries for 34 yards and his first career touchdown at Michigan already in this ball game. Finally starting to make some noise as part of the offense, coming as a 5-star recruit a few years back. Hopefully all is well with Kareem Walker. We send our best down to that locker room for Michigan.
Kareem Walker came in the same running back class as Saquon Barkley back in the day, didn't he?
I believe that sounds about right, yeah.
And I believe he was the only recruit above Saquon Barkley from that recruiting class. Was it?
It just shows you the potential ceiling for Kareem Walker. It's a shame due to injuries and especially other reasons that he just hasn't been able to contribute on the field this far. I said hopefully he's okay, he can come back and contribute. He's definitely contributed in this game. Again, with that first touchdown out of his career, helped put Michigan out to a currently 21-point lead. So Michigan offense back on the field, ready to begin the drive at their own 20-yard line. Just under 12 minutes to go here in the 4th quarter. Peters comes under center. Isaac in the backfield. Poggi offset eye to the left. 2 tight ends, 1 to each side. Now Peoples-Jones in motion from the left towards the formation. It's a counter play to Isaac. He has a big hole on the left side. He plows forward and gets a nice help there from Tyrone Wheatley for pushing forward for another 3 yards after he was stopped. He'll get all the way down to about the 28-yard line. About 8 yards on the game for Ty Isaac.
That is the 3rd offensive play in a row that Michigan has run the ball out to the left side of the line. You realize with all of these struggles they've had on the right side of the line so far, that's probably where they rely, and that's exactly why we've seen it.
You had big Micah Wenyu leading the way most of the time, and Michigan comes out same formation that they just did. This time with the tight ends swapped on either side. They hand off now, counterplay to the other side of the formation. It's Isaac. He's got a hole. He breaks the tackle. No, he doesn't. Great tackle there by the shoestrings on Ty Isaac. But not enough, or rather, it is enough, just about a yard farther.
Beautiful tackle by Tim Barrow, the defensive back for Rutgers. He really came out and was able to grab Karan Higdon right by the shoestrings.
It was a shoestring tackle. Isaac was just able to get enough. He got up to the 31, maybe 30.5 yard line for the first down. So Peters under center in the I formation. It's Mason and Isaac behind him, 2 tight ends. Peoples-Jones now in motion coming to the formation from the left side. He hands it off to the left side. Isaac again finding room. He plows forward. He's running tough out there. He was stopped for about 5 yards around the 35, but plowed forward for 2 more down to the 37-yard line. And it'll bring up about a 2nd and 3 for Michigan, maybe a 2nd and 4.
I've said it 5-6 times on this broadcast, but those left side power runs for Michigan are really their bread and butter. You're pulling 6 yards on a single run. That's beauty.
Michigan will see if they continue to rely on that power run game. Actually, it worked just like a charm today. They come out same personnel almost this time. Instead of Peoples-Jones, it's Shanley.
Watch it to the right
on the right side. They run a counter there. It's Evans. He finds hole, cuts back up the middle. He's got room. He breaks the tackle and is out across midfield before finally being brought down. Safety K.J. Gray on the tackle, but not before Evans gets into Rutgers territory down to the 48-yard line. Another Michigan first down.
Great tackle by K.J. Gray. If he didn't grab that thing, Chris Evans was gone.
Michigan bringing in the heavy set now. Bringing in big Ron Johnson, out of Camden, New Jersey. Basically use him as an extra tight end, but he's listed as an offensive lineman on the stat sheet. He's off to the right side. McDoom coming in motion towards that right side. Evans in the backfield, Mason in front of him. They give to Evans. Evans goes right. He cuts up the field a little bit, but will not have much room to run. He's only able to get about 3 yards onto the 45-yard line. He's brought down there by the cornerback Isaiah Wharton, helping out in run support. It'll be about a 2nd and 7 for Michigan at Rutgers' 45-yard line.
Rutgers just had the right side of Michigan's offensive line beat once again on that. Chris Evans had no room to run. Great move on Isaiah Wharton's part for the tackle.
Michigan just trying to run as much time off the clock as they can. 9 minutes to go now and running. 2 tight ends, 1 to each side. Khalid Hill in the backfield as well. Michigan keeps sending that wide receiver in motion for like almost a crack sweep. They hand off to Isaac going left, but he is brought down as Isaiah Wharton again flying off from the right side of the Michigan line, came all the way across the formation to trip up Evans by the shoestrings. Evans only able to get about 1.5 yards, and he is down after that play, and as is Mike Owenyu, it looks like. So a lot of carnage on that play from Michigan for a modest 1-yard gain that'll leave him with a 3rd and 6. It is indeed Isaac laying on his back. He was rolling around a little bit in pain. Owenyu on both knees there. Not sure what happened. But all the medical personnel out onto the field.
Owenyu is up. It looks like he just had the wind knocked him out of that play. Looks like he'll be okay, but Ty Isaac is still down on his back on the field. A little bit worried to watch.
Encouraging sign of Owenyu not only got up, but he popped up off the ground, walking a little bit gingerly back to the sideline, it looks. Meeting with, it looks like Tim Drevno on the sideline there. Making sure he's all right, possibly coming back in the game. Not right away, though, as it looks like medical staff is going to take him back to the bench, check him out just a little bit more. Make sure he is all healthy. No sense in coming in a 21-point game to re-injure yourself if you can avoid it.
Looks like Jim Harbaugh's on the field checking out Ty Isaac as well. That's never a good sign to see.
At Michigan Stadium, you could hear a pin drop in here right now. Dead silent. Not something we're used to here with Michigan doing so well in this ball game. Isaac on the day so far has been a big part of the offense. 14 carries, 108 yards. Broke off a couple that looked like they might go for touchdowns, but wasn't quite able to get the edge on a play or was tripped up on a play, and he is finally back up to his feet. Gets a nice hand here from the Michigan faithful as well as the Rutgers fans in attendance today. He's going to go straight back to the locker room, not even going to bother going back to the sideline. As we said, in a blowout, 8:40 left on the clock. No sense in coming back in and re-injuring yourself if you're Ty Isaac.
No. It's good to see him get up on his feet, though, and walk it off.
Yeah, he is walking off under his own power and everything. Maybe a little bit of a limp there. His right leg, possibly. We'll see what the final diagnosis. He gets a standing ovation from the fans around the tunnel there.
Got a little butt tap there from Chris Ash walking into the locker room.
Definitely, at the very least, appreciating the pure football talent of Ty Isaac. As we said already, over 100 yards on the day. One of 2 Michigan rushers over 100 yards. The other, Karan Higdon, 17 carries, 156 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the day. Seemingly with a stranglehold on the lead running back position here at Michigan.
200-yard rushers in the game? That is great for Michigan. As a Lions fan, just looking at these stats, oh my.
The Lions, of course, having the legendary drought of no 100-yard rushers in a game, and Michigan has 2 of them in one game here.
Since 2011, folks.
Looks like John Runyon in the game to replace Michael Wenyu on that right guard spot. Michigan has the ball at the Rutgers 43-yard line. They got a 3rd and 5 upcoming. They have 3 tight ends on the field, 2 to the left, 1 to the right. It's Hill in the backfield with Evans behind him. Shadley also in the game, out to the left. Peters fakes to Higdon. He throws out to Higdon now off that right side. Higdon able to stay in bounds and fight down the 35-yard line for a first down. Great play there by Karan Higdon. Not only make the grab on balls out in front of him, but then tiptoe, get an out-of-bounds marker and get a first down.
Great grab by Karan Higdon there to get it up to the first down. That throw was a little bit sloppy on Brendan Peters' part, but hey, if it works, it works.
It was a little bit out in front, maybe a little bit low, but it worked nonetheless. So Michigan has a first down out of the Rutgers 35-yard line, and you imagine going right back to that run game that's worked so well and helped chew time off the clock. Again, the 2 tight end formation is Bunting and Wheatley as Shanley comes in motion to the right. Ben Mason leads the way for Chris Evans up the middle, who has a lot of room before he's finally met down at the 30-yard line. He had 5 yards just untouched before being stopped forcefully there in the middle.
I don't think I've seen a hole open up like that all game. That was huge.
You've seen some big holes. That one, as I said, did not get touched for 5 yards. Not even close to being touched for 5 yards. That Michigan offensive line, they can smell blood in the water here. They're just plowing this Rutgers D-line and the front 7 backwards. And they gave Evans a little bit more than 5 yards. It would be a long 2nd and 4. Now 2 wide receivers in the game. Peoples-Jones to the right, McDoom to the left. Also a tight end Bunting off the left side. Mason, the lead blocker, the tight end there, or rather the fullback, blocking for Evans. He runs left, he breaks a tackle, tries to get to the outside to the left side, but unable to do so. He gets back to the line of scrimmage, kept getting met by Rutgers defenders before finally being almost forced out, eventually brought down for a loss, about a half yard on that play.
Even a half yard on the loss. Chris Evans there broke at least 3 different tackles from defenders.
One of the things Michigan fans really bookmarked for Evans to improve on last season was breaking tackles. He did do that there. And it'll bring up a 3rd and 4. 6:30 now remaining in the ball game as Michigan again just running time off that clock. 2 tight ends, Mason, the fullback in the backfield, with Higdon behind him now as Shanley comes in motion from right to left towards formation. It's a handoff to Higdon up the middle. He tries to cut. He plows forward. I don't think he's going to have enough for a first down, though, as he is stopped at about the 33-yard line of Rutgers. So it'll be about a 4th and 2, 4th and 3, depending on exactly where they spot it.
Michigan's power run game has come up real bad, real slow on this last drive. It's the bread and butter for the rest of the game. But here, Rutgers has been able to stop him.
It looks like Michigan is going to go for it here on 4th and 3. Given the way the wind for most of the game is blown right in the direction that they're going, right in their faces right now. Not blowing right at the moment, though. Interesting call. They come out in a heavy set, though. 3 tight ends, Ben Mason. They hand out to Higdon. No, they don't. He rolls out as Peters. He's going downfield. He finds McEwen, but underthrown. He had McEwen wide open around the 10-yard line. They were able to catch and turn into the end zone for a touchdown. But an incomplete pass there from Brandon Peters ends the drive. Rutgers will take over at their own 28-yard line.
You know, we're seeing that Brandon Peters might not be the savior that these Michigan fans thought or hoped he was going to be. That ball just came up short on the throw. Think John O'Connor had that one?
It's tough to say. It could be those jitters there. You see a guy wide open. You're not used to seeing that, especially so far. Like in this game, a lot of the throws Brandon Peters had to make have been either slightly contested throws or little rollouts, 5-yard passes, nothing downfield like that. You saw McEwen wide open there on the 10-yard line and might have just short-armed it, threw it right into the turf about 3 yards in front of McEwen.
That ball did look like it came off the back foot too, so.
He was on the run. He was rolling out to his right. Unless we're not going to overreact there to one throw. That's just, hopefully the Michigan fans don't overreact to one game, but we all know they will. That's just how Michigan fandom works. You're going to overreact to one game. I know earlier this year, John O'Korn was the savior of Michigan football after that Purdue game. Everybody was ready. They're going to get back on track, go to the college football playoff. I just hope for Brandon Peters' sake the hype doesn't get too out of control.
I'm still riding that good old Dylan McCaffrey hype, though.
We're going to move on to the next quarterback already here.
Go through them all.
Got to go to... What happens after McCaffrey? Do you then move on to the Alex Malzone train? Is that the next one in line? Is that what we're going with?
Maybe the Alex Malzone train, or maybe you're just putting Garrett Morris, your Hottie Award winner, in as quarterback.
Pete Mortel, holder of the year. One of only 2 winners along with Pete Mortel. One of the best holders. You know he has the sure hands. He won't worry about these fumbled snaps from we saw earlier in this ballgame. As sure hand as they come, Garrett Morris.
Morris did have that touchdown last year against the extra point against Rutgers last year.
It was against Rutgers as well.
Yeah.
Have not seen him pull that trick out of the bag yet this season or in this ballgame. I don't think Michigan's too worried about wanting to score up in this one. You know, just trying to get out of here with a win and stay healthy.
They might need it for the Hottie film, though. Think they're going to do on this next drive?
I highly doubt Garrett Morris has any playing time in this next drive. I will say that. This next drive, though, before we get back to the Michigan offense, Michigan defense on the field against Rutgers looking for one more stop that might seal the game. There's only 5:28 remaining in this ball game. Michigan with a 21-point lead over the visiting Scarlet Knights on homecoming weekend as the crowd starts to thin out here.
Yeah, you're really seeing this crowd finally thin out. It's 43 degrees here in Ann Arbor. It's the first cold game these fans have seen all year.
It is the first cold game. It is chilly down there. A lot of people bundled up in the hats and jackets. First time we've seen those yet this year. Rutgers comes out, trips formation to the left, one wide receiver to the right, one running back in the backfield. Taking the snap is Rashano. He throws over the right side out of the trips formation. Nice grab there, and then finally brought down after a gain of about 7 was Damon Mitchell, the wide receiver, the 5th-year senior out of Egg Harbor City, New Jersey.
Great pickup by Damon Mitchell after that catch. You get hit by Devin Bush, you usually come straight down where Devin Bush hit you, but he was able to pick up another 3 yards in that play.
Yeah, it took Brandon Watson cleaning up the mess to make that tackle. So now 2 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left on a 2nd and 3. Handing off is Rashano up the middle. It's the backup running back there, Robert Martin, but he is stopped right at the line of scrimmage. It was Josh Uche getting some time.
Uche, yeah.
35 out there. Michigan putting some backups in. We see Drumfor coming into the game. Bring up a 3rd and 2. More of a 3rd and 3, it looks like, from our vantage point. Rutgers at their own 35-yard line. Michigan has Quiddy Pay in there as well. 2 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left, 1 running back, 1 tight end off to both the left side of Rashano. Pressure coming here, but it looks like a false start is going to be called. Rutgers offense line maybe getting a little jittery, seeing about 7 Wolverines ready to rush the quarterback there. Going to back Rutgers up 5 more yards and bring it to more of a 3rd and 8 situation.
You know, if I go in the shoes of that offensive line, I would have had a false start there too. Michigan had McCray and Devin Bush lined up for the blitz there. You see those men coming after you? Ooh. It's going to happen at least once or twice.
To be fair, you are about 5'7". They're a little bit bigger than you, but still, as you mentioned, a scary defensive front Michigan has. Rashano dropping back to pass here on 3rd and long, but he will find nobody and get brought down there by Michael Drumfor in the middle. Quiddy Pay also getting in on the tackle. Give a half a sack to each of them. That's going to bring a 4th and long. Rutgers going to punt. They are just about done with this ballgame.
Wow. The Drumfor on the tackle really shows how deep this Michigan defensive line is.
Yeah, look at the replay. Drumfor fought off his man to almost a stalemate at first, and as soon as Rashano tried to step up in the pocket, Drumfor shed his blocker and went after the quarterback. Did a great job to bring him down, and Quiddy Pay flying around the edge cleaned things up. Now looks like Donovan Peoples-Jones to get one more chance to return should he choose to run this one back. Anderson takes a high snap and boots it long and far. Peoples-Jones running over to his left to make the grab. He makes the grab at the 27-yard line. He has space on the left side, but he will be wrapped up and thrown out of bounds at the 40-yard line, it looks like.
Not bad starting position for Michigan on this next drive.
Referee over there running in, trying to run any extracurriculars from Peoples-Jones being thrown into the Rutgers sideline. 3:12 remaining here. Michigan looking to just run out the clock, bringing the big boys onto the field. There is a lot of meat in that Michigan huddle right now. I don't think I see anyone that looks less than 250 pounds aside from Brandon Peters.
No, folks, this has been a great game for Michigan rushing. 327 yards on the day.
Looking to tack onto that here. 2 tight ends. They do have a wide receiver, Mo Ways, out there. He comes in motion toward the right side. Handoff now going up the middle. There's Omori Samuels now, the former Iowa commit out of Detroit, Michigan. Hometown kid getting a carry there here in the blowout ballgame. Rather out of Los Lunas, New Mexico. My mistake there. He's able to fight forward for about 4 yards, running right behind Ben Mason, who's we've seen a lot as a lead blocker today. Coach Harbaugh raved about Ben Mason's blocking. How he's able to bring the thunder. Yeah, definitely showing that today.
Great block on the touchdown round early today.
2 tight ends again, Mo Ways, same exact personnel, same exact formation, I formation, Mason with Samuels behind him. Peters take the snap, hands off left side for Samuels. He's trying to cut it outside, trying to stay in bounds there after Samuels. He is brought down in an awkward manner on the sideline there. No flag called. It looked like some combination of a late hit, a face mask, and a horse collar all in one.
Luckily, it was grabbed him right around the neck to tackle him down on that ball.
Nothing called, though, as he's able to get out to the Michigan's 49-yard line. His knee went down inbounds, so the clock continues to run at the 2-minute mark right now. That'll be 3rd and 4 coming up for Michigan. Peters comes under center now. It's Wheatley and Bunting, the tight ends. Mo Ways coming in motion on the right side. It's Samuels getting a carry again behind Mason, but he is met right at the line of scrimmage. Able to pick up 1 yard to the midfield mark, right at the 50.
Michigan's offensive line just did not have the force on that play to open up the hole.
And at some point, it just seems like the offensive line is done. I see some backups in there. I don't see Mason Cole at all. They were running the backups, again, trying to avoid getting anyone else hurt. We already saw Michael Wenyu leave the game, Ty Isaac leave the game, and for the first time since Brandon Peters took over back in the first half, Michigan will be punting away with Brad Robbins, much to the dismay of one Jeremy Parks, who made the bold proclamation Michigan would never punt again with Brandon Peters under center. They do here as Robbins kicks it deep. Fair catch called for from the Rutgers player, but he is met by his own player all the way at the 10-yard line. It'll bounce down to 3. Didn't catch who the gunner was, but he just shoved his man right back into the Rutgers returner. Michigan pins him back at the 2-yard line.
I'll be very honest, I did not know that was legal, Falco.
Yeah, as long as you're not the one who hits him, you can shove your man right back. Whoever's trying to block, you can shove him right back into the returner. That's exactly what Michigan did there.
Falco, do you mind if we back up for a moment? Did that Mr. Jeremy Parks say forever Michigan would never punt again with Brandon Peters behind the snap? Or did he say for the rest of the game here?
I believe he said forever, but like both stand. Both are forever.
Okay. Don't know how I felt about that prediction.
If we want to be fair, it is garbage time. You don't necessarily have to count that. So we can say as long as the game is close.
Okay.
As Rutgers, we'll see if they try to phone this one. They do a draw play up the middle, met at the line of scrimmage, though. 0 gain. No, he's straight to tackle, actually. They still got Gus Edwards in there. Looked like he was stopped dead to rights at about the 1-yard line. He had to break a couple tackles and get out to the 7.
That was a great run on Gus Edwards' part. He looked like he was stuffed down on the 1, putting them straight into the safety zone, but he was able to break 3, 4, 5 tackles, maybe 3 or 4, to get him back out and 5-yard pickup.
Giving Rutgers some breathing room. There's only 20 seconds left of the ballgame. They're at their own 7-yard line. They fake the handoff now, and Rashano going to try to run with it to the right. Questionable call, I will say that. I do not think Rutgers wants to get their quarterback hurt here.
And
at the end of the game in garbage time.
The last play of the game.
It ultimately doesn't matter how far he gets. There's about 2 yards if you're keeping track of the stats at home. But that is going to do it here as the clock hits 0. And Michigan takes this one over Rutgers by a score of 35-14. Again, big story of the game, Brandon Peters replacing John O'Corn in the first half and seemingly reinvigorating the Michigan offense. They went on to score on every single one of their drives, bar the missed field goal from Quinn Nordine and the punt at the very end in garbage time there.
Absolute great showing for Brandon Peters. 10 for 14 for 124 yards and a touchdown pass in his first game. Beautiful. It's a great start. This might be the lifeblood that Michigan's offense needed to win the next couple of games.
Yeah, really, that's going to be the headline-grabbing story. Is Brandon Peters replaces John O'Corn. Brandon Peters, new starting quarterback for Michigan. But they really got the job done here on the ground. 334 rushing yards, led by Karan Higdon's 158 and a couple touchdowns to boot. Really impressive showing on the ground. I think that's what's really going to be able to sustain this Michigan offense going forward, especially over the next couple weeks. When they face Minnesota next week at home, that's a night game, 7 o'clock start.
Not usual for Michigan football, but yeah.
So that will do it here from Michigan Stadium. As I said, next week, Minnesota, 7:30 start, I believe, is the kickoff time Eastern. We'll have that for you here on WCBN Sports Coverage. But for now, from the Big House, I am Austin Falco. For Austin Fisher, Jeremy Parks, and Daniel Thompson, and all of us here at WCBN Sports, we leave you with a good night, and as always, a Go Blue.